line, screaming like a siren at night. Red and blue shout and nobody's right. Smoke in the streets, truth under attack. Everybody's loud, nobody's got facts. Feeds keep scrolling, nerves stay tight. Matchsticks flicked in the dead of night. They sell fear, cheap package the lies, while the clock keeps ticking, empires on fire. Can't sit quiet while the world's on edge. Lines in the sand, standing on the ledge. No script, no leash, no polish, quiet. Just a voice in the dark and a spark to the wire. This is and I'll bring the fire. Gonna light it higher. No filter, no fear, I say it raw. Strike the match, let it burn through the fog. This is and I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. Yeah. Everybody's selling truth like a brand. Buying opinions they don't understand. Talking in circles, screaming online. Keyboard courage, borrowed spines. Yeah, power plays dressed up as peace. Same old wolves with different teeth. But silence is loud when the house is burning. And the fuse is short, yeah, it's still learning. I don't dance for the left or the right. I stand in the heat, I stand in the fight. No strings, no chains, no manufactured choir. Just gasoline thoughts and an open lighter. This is and I'll bring the fire. Gonna light it higher. No filter, no fear, I say it raw. Strike the match, let it burn through the fog. This is and I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. World's on tilt, pressure climbing. Truth don't whisper, it's perfect timing. You can't cancel the smoke, you can't stop flame. Say my name when it hits, say my name. Why? Say my name. Say my name. Fire don't ask permission. Fire don't need a side. Fire just shows up honest and exposes the lie. This is and I'll bring the fire. Truth is harder. Burn it down till what's real survives. No smoke, no mirrors, just heat and lies. And I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. American fire. Strike it. Let it speak.
Happy Monday, everybody. What's happening? Hope you all had a great weekend. Fathers, hope you had a wonderful Father's Day. I know I did. Spent lots of time with the fam, my wife, and she let me relax all day. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. Got a lot of sun, if you can't tell. Working on the tan, baby. Get the tan going, just trying to look better for everybody. But hope you guys are doing well. We got a lot to talk about. As always, man, what a weekend. I got to tell you, the haters are hating so hard right now. It tells you there's panic on the other side. Everybody who's against the great American project, the great MAGA project that's happening right now is big angry. And what does that tell us? It tells us we're winning. Because you don't see any confidence anywhere. On Iran, they had to lie and try to blow up X yesterday with all kinds of lies that got quickly debunked. We got major exposure continuing to happen with senators, with, all kinds of, in the justice world, fraud. Midterms are looking better and better for the Republicans every day. And the podcast is staying freaking out. Tucker Carlson really freaking out this weekend. So much to get to. I am very excited to be here with you kids. You kids. I was going to say you guys, but it just came out that way. So, I don't take offense to it. I was just being silly. But so much to get to. But before we get started, guys, hit that like, hit that subscribe. And, that's the best way to support the channel. Let me get in and say hey to the Chizat. Call some peeps out here, and then we'll get on the move. First, let's start with Rumble today. We got Don Julio, Maui Jimbo, Pixel Snap, all holding it down over there on the Rums. We got here on YouTube, Toe Cramp, Numero Uno today, Gen X Maga, Dadbot Todd, J Tyrus, Ramona, Sebastian Chose, Shogun, my DEI mod. Thank you, sir, for showing up. Never know what the DEI hires. Cass Sink, Gen X Maga, Smokehouse, Sniped Your Head, Bobby Girl, Nick Majors, Pat M, Carnivore King, Scott Volkovich, Motley Cruel, Golden Code, Armand Olafante, Tie Dye, Star Child, Donna's in the house, Rafe, Threads of Hera, Jesus Saves, Susan Burnich, Lisa Doxy, and so many more, guys. Sorry I can't get to all you. There's just too many, but really glad you're here. We appreciate your attention to this matter and the support. Sebastian asks, why is the media lying about the negotiations, trying to help Iran? Said, trying to say Vance went home yesterday. Negotiations are, well, we're going to talk about that. Why? I mean, I think the why is obvious. They're big mad, and here's the deal. The right people are mad. The neocons, the leftists who are always mad. The too far hardcore Zionists, not the regular Israel supporters. Those people are fine. There's nothing wrong with supporting Israel. But the people who are like, Israel should control everything. Israel's the best. Everything Israel does. Those people are big mad. The Israel haters are mostly mad. I mean, everybody who should be mad is mad, and that's a good sign. It's a really, really good sign that we're winning. And they know they're feeling the heat, guys. They wanted this thing to last so long. They were hoping Trump would get stuck. They were hoping it was going to be Trump's Iraq. It would get hung around his neck and drag him down the midterms and destroy the party by 2028. And they didn't get what they wanted. And the other part is that it exposed all their lies, which we'll talk about more later. Sniped Your Head says, happy Father's Day. We need more good dads like you in this country. Well, thank you very much. We do need good dads in this country. And I am actually doing a segment at the end today on fathers and the attack on masculinity in our country. So that's going to be a special little Father's Day segment this time. And yeah, let's see here. They can freak out all they want. Thanks for reporting. Well, that's true. They can. But, we got to cover it because if there weren't shows like me, people would have to do all their research on their own, which isn't like a bad thing, except for the fact most people are busy. They got busy lives. They aren't addicted to politics the way I am. Since I've been about 16, 17 years old, I've been addicted to politics and what's going on in the world, which means, it's just kind of who you are. And I fully embrace that. So I do the work and I report on it because it makes sense to me. I get it out there, and there's other good people doing good work as well. If you don't watch me and you don't like my style or my breakdowns, there's other good people out there doing good work. But I'll tell you, if it wasn't for people like us, all you would hear is nonstop doom and gloom, and you would hear all the wrong framing from all the wrong people. This is what we all grew up with: the terrible media, the terrible education system. We were lied to about so much, and so many of us knew it. You could feel it in your gut; it just didn't feel right. But you still we're like, well, it's what it is, right? Because it's all you were fed. And I was the same thing, man. I was a George Bush supporter. You want to talk about psyop. I was 18 when 9/11 happened. Actually, it happened 3 weeks before my 18th birthday. And so I was just turning 18 when that happened. And yeah, I mean, that talk about that working. I was a full-on, you could have called me a neocon. We didn't really use that term back then, but if you had met me from the ages of 18 to 25, I would have been a full-on Mark Levin style neocon. Just let's go, let's do it. And I was a huge George Bush fan. And, at that point still believed Ronald Reagan was God, as every good Republican did back then. But, you grow up, you learn, and thank God, period. That's, he helps us grow. He lets us mature and change our thinking and see things and see patterns and see through the lies. And he takes us on a journey if we're willing to take it. And if we're willing to take it, we, never know where you end up. Well, I'm now here, and I'm all about defacing the narratives that they spin us, breaking them down, cutting through it, and showing us, focusing on what's really happening. And I'm not perfect, but I am right 96.7% of the time, as documented by no one. It's just my claim. But those who've been here 3.5 years know that when it comes to politics that I'm pretty close to that number, except for the people trying to gaslight me and lie. I had a guy on the comments today being really mad about the oil prices because he's got to be right about something. And he said, "You're lying. Prices in Ohio are $3.75 a gallon, and they've been that way for 2 weeks. They're not going down." I said, okay. So I went to Google. I typed in Ohio gas prices, and I saw that for the last month, Ohio's gas prices are down almost a full $1, over 80 cents. And I came back and I said, "You're lying. Why would I ever take a critique from you to tell me that Ohio is not going down? They're down 80 cents in a month. That's a lie." And to that, he responded and sent me a post on X and said, "Dude, look, I didn't lie about the prices. This says even higher." And it showed me a price that Ohio's average is $3.80. And I said, "Are you retarded?" I said the lie was that they're not going down. And this is what I got to deal with, folks. This is the kind of people I got to deal with. They're not smart. They try to gotcha. And I'll tell you, I'm not always right, but it's really hard to gotcha me because I'm really good at research. And when you're really good at research, you can always find the right answer, or at least almost always. And yeah, it's hard to gotcha me. So anyways, we're going to look through it. I'm not like Rush. I don't do it all with half my brain tied behind my back. I do use my full brain, and I still can't quite compete with Rush, but I will always be aspiring to. Rush was the king. And that's what we're going to do. So we're going to get into it today. There's going to be a lot of people who watch this, angry, troll types, and I hope they come. It's a sign I'm doing well. There's going to be idiots who bring nothing to me. But I'll tell you what, if you do have a disagreement and you have a good point and you come honorably and respectfully, I will accept. And I'd like you to put it in the chat, please, because I love answering questions, and questions and comments are very appreciated on this show. The community is a big deal to me. I will stop in between every segment, take time in the chat. I will do my best to answer all your questions and comments directed towards me. So please tag me so I can see them. Or if you'd like to support the show, you can always send a super chat, which is guaranteed to be read and answered. That's my guarantee to you is a thank you for supporting the show, and thank you for your attention to this matter. All right, let me make sure I'm not missing anything before we go on here, and then we're going to get into it, shall we? Person posted a gas price of $107 in Texas. There's no way that's true. I lived in Texas, and I know that where I currently am in North Carolina is about 30 cents more expensive than Texas based on when I lived there. So I just passed... This morning, I took my daughter to her first job interview. Very cute. And the gas price was $3.35, which is excellent for this area. Not where it was. It was down to $2.29 at its lowest, which lasted for about a week. But we're still much closer than we were. But $3.35, I was happy with that, which tells me Texas on average is probably about $2.90, $2.95, be my guess. So we'll see. Or maybe Texas moves it faster. I don't know. But there's no way it's $1.07. That's crazy. That guy's just losing money. DJ says, "What's up? Hope you had a good Father's Day. I wonder if anyone told Michelle Obama Happy Father's Day." I'll just leave that one there. I love it. All right. Let's get into it, folks. You guys ready? This weekend, we had a very interesting weekend on X in regards to Iran. It wasn't just X, it's everywhere. So yesterday morning, there was a big push on X to say the Iran deal has blown up. JD Vance has left. The Iranians refuse to deal. This is over. Trump has failed. What a joke. We all told you so. Turns out none of it was true. So, in response, Donald Trump wrote this: radical left fools and Democrats realize how well we've done our war against Iran, with their country being completely defeated militarily. Obama just kept giving them billions of cash, never used our then depleted military for what should have been done to rein in the world's #1 sponsor of terror, Iran. They had zero respect for him. They thought he was like Sleepy Joe Biden, a weak and ineffective leader. And on this, they were 100% correct. Iran got away with murder for 47 years until I came along. Then it all changed. America is back. So Trump framing it very vociferously positive, as he tends to do. But he also usually tends to be right. And this is what we found out yesterday. So the Iranians, imagine that they remain in Switzerland. Why the PSYOP? You understand right now we are living in a major fog of, I mean, it's post-war, but it's war. We're in a war. We're in an intelligence war right now, and it's best to be honest about that. And the Iranians, whoever is allowed to post, we don't know. They could be separate factions angry about this. They hardliners. They could be part of their government trying to just screw up the Americans as we're negotiating, while the other part of the government is like, we're going to keep showing up because we have to. Who knows? But it's being pushed, this propaganda, like crazy. But fortunately, none of it's true. And so quickly put out there by the afternoon. So X ran with this all morning long, that it all fallen apart. But by the afternoon, the real reports came out. Iranians were in Switzerland. Talks continue at this hour. Negotiations in earnest all day. Some of the discussions focused on clarifying the confusing messaging around the strait. Then, excellent stuff. And here's JD Vance coming out to report exactly on where we're at.
Yesterday was a very, very good day. We made a lot of good progress. We did exactly what we wanted to do, which is accomplish 4 things for the American people. First, we wanted to build a mechanism for keeping the Strait of Hormuz open. It is open. We've seen, of course, gas prices and oil prices come down, millions and millions of barrels of crude and natural gas flowing through the Strait of Hormuz that weren't flowing before. But we also wanted to make sure that we actually set up the coordination mechanism so that we could demine the Straits of Hormuz, so that when there are the conflicts that inevitably come up, we can make sure we work through them rather than that leading to escalation. And that is exactly what we did yesterday. Number 2, we also wanted to build a mechanism, a similar mechanism, for deconfliction for the regional ceasefire. As the President of the United States has himself said, sometimes these ceasefires just mean you're shooting a little bit less, but we wanted to make sure that we had the proper coordination set up so that if there is shooting, if Hezbollah fires at Israel or if Israel responds, if there are other conflicts that arise in the region, we're actually talking to each other and figuring out how to stop the shooting, how to make the region safer, our allies and everybody else. We set that up as well. Number 3, and this is probably what we're most excited about as Americans, the Iranians have agreed to invite IAEA inspectors back into their country. What? That is a major milestone for the American people and the first step in permanently denuclearizing or permanently ending a nuclear weapons program in Iran.
Now imagine that. It looks like we're actually on pace for a comprehensive deal. That's against what everybody's been telling us. Nuke program, already letting inspectors in. The working it out with Hezbollah, telling them to cut it out so that Israel doesn't keep getting poked to get pushed back into something, try to drag us back in. Not that Israel wants to drag us back in. That's not my point. The point is they fight in this. It hurts our deal making with Iran. And of course, Hezbollah wants that. See, Hezbollah is still funded by IRGC. IRGC is still funded by City of London. There is a civil war going on in Iran right now. We don't know exactly who our people are dealing with. We don't know who Witkoff, Kushner, JD are dealing with, but we can tell at this point that they are the ones that have started to take over the country. Doesn't mean they're the good guys. I don't believe that at all. And JD is very open about that right here, which we'll get to in a second. But we are seeing real results from what's going on. We're seeing the fact that the oil prices just dropped below $74. $74 a barrel. Guys, our oil prices right now are cheaper than they were last summer. Now, the gas prices will catch up. It does take a little more time because, profit or God's profit. They're going to keep those prices up as long as they can. It's going to trickle down, and that is what it is. It's good or bad. It's not fair, but it is what it is. But that it will get there. It always does eventually correct, as we've seen many times before, especially under Trump. He'll make sure it gets down there. But oil prices are already lower than they were last summer. That's amazing. It's almost like we're right back on track. You guys, $73, we're close to crossing down into the 60s again. This is happening very quickly. So we're seeing results. We're seeing a lot of stuff that keeps popping up online about this deal's over, Iran's barking back, and it just doesn't happen. But regardless, we do know how we're dealing with, and JD's clear about that.
Well, we want Israel's security to be protected, and we also want Lebanon's sovereignty to be protected, and this is going to be an ongoing conversation. The Israelis have been very clear they do not have territorial intentions on South Lebanon. The reason they feel they have to be there is because they're worried about Hezbollah fighters in South Lebanon firing into Israel. We do believe, of course it's going to require a lot of hard work, that we can get to a place where Lebanon's territorial integrity and sovereignty is protected, Israel's security is protected, and that's going to require some coordination with the Lebanese armed forces, and also it's going to require the Iranians to rein in Hezbollah. That's all the sort of things that we were talking about yesterday, and again, I think that we got much further compared to where we were just 24 hours ago. Well, we want Israel's...
So where we're at right now, real things are happening, and as JD just said, we got to figure out Lebanon. We're going to try to get them out. This tells me that when he mentioned Lebanon's armed forces, that they're going to try to push out Hezbollah. I don't know how that's going to work out, but working with Lebanon, their armed forces to do that, they're working on securing Lebanon as its own country again. That's a big deal. And then again, as JD mentioned, get rid of the funding to Hezbollah from Iran. That's going to take a little work, but we'll get there. Now, Percent put this out today. And this tells you something really is happening. Under President Trump and VP, we continue to make the world safer and more prosperous. In line with the ongoing productive talks in Switzerland, Iran is committed to free and open transit in the Strait of Hormuz and permit the IAEA inspectors in their country. As part of the framework, Treasury has issued a temporary 60-day general license authorizing production, delivery, and sale of Iranian oil. Hold the phone. Iran is now going to be able to put their oil on market for the first time in years, nearly 40 years. That's a big deal. And it tells me that the administration is getting real results. You guys can frame it however you want. People could say, no, they're capitulating, they're just giving in, or it's legit. You can make that call yourself. You can go against everything Trump's done. You can still call him Taco Trump, even though he's followed through on tariffs, even though he's followed through on multiple strikes against Iran, not once, but twice, actually 3 times if we count last year. Not only has he gone in and knocked out Venezuela's leader, brought him over here in 45-minute operation, not only has he done all these things, people still use that excuse, but the proof is in the pudding. And as I continue to believe, watching Trump over these many years, this last decade of basically being our president off and on, but he always follows through on a deal. And I got to tell you guys, Trump, he's not a pushover. And if anybody thinks that at this point, you might be stupid. You better go get that checked. And so in my opinion, just based on what I know and studying the man in the administration, this is a signal that this is legit. These things are legitimately happening. And remember, this can be pulled off anytime. But you know what this means? All this oil now hitting the nations, hitting the open seas, being out there on the market. More oil, guys. Venezuela pumping. Iran's going to be able to get that oil out there. We are pumping more than ever before. There's going to be more oil available in the world in the next few weeks than ever before in history. And I do mean history. I don't just mean modern history. Because with the capabilities now versus 50, 60 years ago, it's massive. Way more countries have found oil. We are much better at getting it out there. We are about to see an oil glut. which means the fight's going to be over, keeping the prices at a point where it keeps them prosperous. But the problem's not going to be supply and demand anymore. That's going to get very interesting. And guys, we should see the cheapest oil we've seen in decades, accounting for inflation, of course. So if you're like, well, it's not 85 cents again, which is what I paid in 2001, the lowest gas I've ever paid in my lifetime since I was old enough to drive. 85 cents in 2001. We're not going to see that again. That was in Texas. But could we see $2 nationwide? Could we see $1.75, $1.90, which accounting for inflation would be even cheaper than the 85 cents I paid in 2001? I do believe it's possible. And that, my friends, will change the economy almost overnight. Now, Trump, when it did look like Iran might be playing games, Trump had a very interesting message for them.
Yeah, hey guys, good morning. I just spoke with President Trump for more than 20 minutes, and he gave some new insight and reaction about the ongoing talks that are taking place in Switzerland and the threats coming from the Iranian regime. President Trump telling Fox News that the U.S. may take over the strait in the future if they have to and collect tolls. The president described this as the United States being the guardian angel of the Strait of Hormuz and the Middle East. And the president said ultimately that would involve the U.S. taking 20% of the oil that passes through the strait. Remember, this comes in reaction to the Iranians saying they will close the Strait of Hormuz in response to Israeli strikes against Hezbollah in Lebanon. President Trump tells Fox News he spoke with Iran.
Real quick, here's the thing, okay? So this is from 2 days ago, but the response is important based upon where we're at now. 2 days ago, with Israel fighting Hezbollah, Iran came out and said, well, and it's like, again, we don't know if this is the Iran negotiators, the people like actually in charge of the country now, or if it's hardliners. Regardless, Iranian media was getting all out there on X and everywhere else. We're going to close the strait. We cannot deal with this in Israel. And what did Trump do? Fine, I'll take over the strait and collect 20% of your oil. And guess what, guys? They know he could do it. They know it. He's already proven that he's willing and able to do these things. And so that might have been exactly what got them back to the table and got them in line. Iran has never, ever dealt with somebody who could handle them like this before. And in this world, especially in the Middle East, strength respects strength. That's the only way to deal with these people. So anyways, just a masterful thing by Trump, but the best part's still to come.
Iranian officials overnight and said, you close it and you won't have a country. He went on to tell these officials, you won't even make it back to your effing country. Now, earlier today, Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian said this about Iranian enrichment of uranium. The president also reacting to that. Take a listen.
We will not give up our right to enrichment, and they, too, will be forced to accept it. You all know what the so-called President of the United States was saying. He had made a complete 100-degree turn. He was saying that Iran must surrender unconditionally. Iran has no right to do this, it has no right to do that.
President Trump, during our call, responded directly to those comments by Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian. President Trump told Fox News he better watch his mouth, he better shape up, or we'll take over the rest of the country. And so clearly the president reacting directly to these comments from Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian. And also President Trump talked about the broader memorandum of understanding, indicating this is just a ceasefire extension. This is not the final deal with the Iranian regime. And the president says he holds the cards and maintains a variety of options if the Iranians don't make these serious commitments at the negotiating table. He said, I have a 60-day option, and I can do whatever I want after that option.
So Trump's clearly not taking force off the board. And I got to tell you guys, this all came out early Sunday, late Saturday. And then, of course, the next night, last night, JD Vance comes out. Wonderful progress made. Do not think any of this is coincidence. Now, the next part is what is Trump willing to do? Well, with the midterms coming up, I'd be shocked if we go all in on them. But I'll tell you what, if they mess around, we'll play this game. But the day after the midterms, it's going to be on. And I believe they know that. And that's why they're starting to play ball. So, but with all this going on, Rubio's finally getting some shout out. He's going over there.
Threatens to upend the entire process. What does the U.S. plan to do about that?
Well, Marco and the entire team have been actively managing what's going on in Lebanon. Despite the headlines, things are actually getting better there. Things have calmed down a little bit. It's going to be something we're just going to have to continuously manage to ensure that, Israel and Lebanon are both safe and secure. That's fundamentally the goal of this, is to make the whole region safe and secure.
Sorry, it sounds terrible.
The big problem is that you have somebody will sue and then somebody will respond, and you kind of have a chicken and egg problem where you just got to stop the shooting for long enough to get the ceasefire to hold. That's what we're going to try to do. We'll keep on working at it, but things have gotten better.
Okay, for those who couldn't hear, because some idiot didn't hand him a mic. I don't understand that. Come on, guys, you can do better. But at least just hold it out to him. What the heck? Anyway, it's pretty terrible. But listen, people have been wondering, where's Rubio? Because Vance has been the face lately. Well, as I often remind you guys, Vance and Rubio are best friends. And in my opinion, if Rubio is not in front of everything right now, it's because he's behind the scenes. And Vance just confirmed that. Rubio will be going over to get down the fighting in Lebanon. And he's been all over Bahrain, Qatar, UAE. I think Rubio right now is getting everybody in line for a massive announcement to get all these countries together and contain Iran in a way, probably through an economic deal. And what it will be is ultimately it'll be containment, because that's what Trump does. He economically ties everybody together in order to bring peace. But just letting you guys know, Rubio has not been pushed to the side as so many have assumed. Now, Iran, IRGC, man, they're still playing games. Homeland Security Secretary just came out that Iran tried to smuggle IRGC members into the U.S. as part of their World Cup team. So we're still dealing with an enemy. We're not going to be stupid. I'm not going to report that everything's gravy and Iran is just, hunky-dory. Everything's fine. The good guys are in charge now. No, the good guys won't be in charge until the people take back their country. We need to all be honest about that. We need to be very open about what we're facing here. But what this continues to show me is that the Trump administration is in control. They're stopping. We haven't had any sleeper cell attacks. Think about that. We were all promised that would happen. You go into Iran, you're bringing terror to our shores. Think of all the people here. Well, it hasn't happened. How? There's only one answer, that the Trump administration between DHS and FBI is doing a wonderful job of cleaning these people up. I just got news last week that a terrorist, I don't think he was Iranian, but regardless, he was a Middle Eastern terrorist, was in my backyard, 30 minutes away from me, was in Mooresville, North Carolina, and was found by DHS, who had come over the border during Biden's years. Yes, an actual terrorist running a cell 30 minutes from me, but the good news is he got caught and nothing came of it. But it doesn't mean they won't stop trying. In fact, I believe, with the City of London ties between IRGC and how we see City of London, this whole thing getting pushed back, beaten back, they're losing their control. They're not going to give up, guys. The enemy still gets a say until they're completely out of there. However, the Trump administration keeps knocking them out at every single opportunity. And that's why I remain so optimistic about all this. But you know who's not optimistic? Ted Cruz. Now, why would Ted Cruz be so angry? Well, Ted Cruz is a flat-out neocon. And as far as I'm concerned, if Ted Cruz is angry, we're headed in the right direction. But here's Ted from the other day on Ben's podcast here. Actually, that's Ted Cruz's podcast. He had Ben on. Whatever. Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz is such a douchey dude. But I used to love Ted Cruz. It's because he was like the staunch conservative, the guy you could trust. And it turned out he's just really good at his job on the conservative side, but he's basically still a neocon. Here we go.
The administration has now released the memorandum of understanding that has been signed, and so we know the text of it. And as we said in the last podcast, it was highly concerning. And it turns out every bit of those rumors were accurate, and what was being circulated was in fact what was in it.
Not true.
I believe the president is.
first of all, that's a flat out lie. Flat out lie. This is why Trump used to call Ted Cruz Lying Ted. That's a flat out lie. Many of the rumors about the MOU were not true, including the idea that we were just going to give them $300 billion. But here's the problem. And this is why these guys don't gain traction anymore, because there's people like me and several others out there who are like, context matters, Ted. You can't play the game anymore where you just throw out this propaganda saying factoid, whatever, taken out of context with no understanding, because we'll call you on it. But regardless, that was a flat out lie.
Is getting very poor advice on this. And history teaches a very simple proposition, which is that giving billions of dollars to theocratic lunatics who want to murder us is a very, very bad idea. Yeah. This deal envisions funneling $300 billion to the Ayatollah and the Islamic regime in Iran. I think that is that would be a very serious mistake.
Do you understand the framing here? This is all framing, okay? Because is there $300 billion accessible in this package? Yes. Is it coming from our tax dollars? No. Is it all about just giving the Ayatollah money to do with as they wish? No. And we're going to talk about what they're doing with it in a minute here, and some of the beginnings of what this looks like. Of how we got some information on that yesterday. But the framing is what is the problem here. Cruz is outwardly lying and telling the whole world that Trump's deal, this guy that he supports, that he's supposed to be on the Republican side of things, is just a blank check, instead of telling everybody the truth, which is going to be monitored, which it'll be released in if even all the Gulf states bring that much together. But it'll be released in tranches. They have to earn release, and then it will be monitored. We just got word that a lot of the money that the assets we were about to unfreeze, well, first of all, they have to earn it. And then when they unfreeze that money, it will be used to buy American food, our soy, our corn, our wheat. And that food will be bought and sent to Iran. So we will make money off their assets. Basically, they're not even getting the money. They're getting the food from those unfrozen assets. Does anybody truly believe that the Trump administration would do that $300 billion any differently? It doesn't make any sense. And yet Ted has no problem lying.
I think if the Ayatollah gets $300 billion, that money will be used to fund terrorism and to murder Americans. And so it is very much...
Again, framing. He's making a prediction right here that we have no way of knowing is true. Okay, past his prologue. Fine. Okay. How about the context of the fact that we've taken out over $2 trillion of their military infrastructure? $2 trillion. We've been swatting away their missiles and their drones like flies. No big deal. Insane. And for him to say this, that they would get that money and automatically just be able to fund. How about the fact that they can't pay their people right now, the IRGC? Maybe some of it goes to paying their military. There are a million things here that money could be used for. And also, by the way, again, it's going to have attachments to it. It's going to have, you need to use this money for this, and it's going to be investment money. It's not just going to be liquid cash delivered to them like Obama did on pallets. Ted Cruz is a lawyer. He's a legal mind. He should know better, but he has no problem doing this. And you know why? Because Teddy Boy wants to be president in 2028, and he knows the only chance he has is to destroy JD Vance and Marco Rubio, which means destroy Trump. That's his only chance, and he is going for it. And we're starting to see this is the beginning of Ted Cruz running for president.
Much my hope that the administration goes down a different path, that they choose not to send money to the Ayatollah. In my view, we shouldn't send a penny to the Ayatollah, and sending $300 billion would be, I think, enormously dangerous.
All right, I want to make sure, Senator, that we're extremely clear.
All right. So Ted's out there lying. And one of the reasons he's so angry is because we have a different framing in our politics now. And this is going to be one of the things that, it's going to upset some of the people who watch my show. But regardless, JD said this on Friday, and I'm going to tell you guys right now, he's 100% right.
Times like the opinion that I disagree with is, on the one hand, people will say that America's interests are always aligned with Israel's interests. It's just not true. And I see this every day in the conversations that we have and the back and forth. And obviously, the president has been very clear. He's got some disagreements with Bibi Netanyahu about how precisely to bring the Iran war to a close. And then I think there are some people who will say that Israel's interests are never aligned with America's. And I think that's also not true. I think the reality.
All right, before I go through the rest of this, I want you guys to hear what he just said. And it is the absolute 100% perfect take on Israel. America's interests are not always aligned with Israel's. But there are times when Israel's interests are definitely aligned with ours. And he just painted both sides of the picture. And that's the only way to truthfully look at this situation. But this clip is being used as Vance being an anti-Semite. And there's a lot of big people mad about this, which we'll talk about in a minute.
The reality is they're a good partner in the same way that the United Kingdom or France are good partners. That doesn't mean that we're always going to have aligned interests. And another thing I think is that there is, sometimes criticism of Israel bleeds into Jew hate. It just does. Charlie was very aware of this. By the way, Charlie was very worried about Israeli influence in American politics. He also really disliked anti-Semitism. But in the same way that sometimes criticism of the Israeli government can be expressed in a way that's anti-Semitic, it's just not the case that every criticism of Bibi Netanyahu's policy decisions leads to anti-Semitism or is anti-Semitic. And so I do think that sometimes, advocates of Israel or pro-Israel people in the United States make two critical mistakes. One, on the one hand, is not delineating between America's interests and Israeli interests, because they're not always the same. But the second is always conflating criticism of a particular government with Jew hatred. Because if everything is Jew hatred, then nothing is Jew hatred. I actually think Jew hatred is very bad, which is why I think we have to be very careful about not calling it's kind of like how progressives for 20 years called everything racist. And if everything's racism, nothing is racism. And we have to be very careful not to, in order to serve a certain foreign policy objective, try to criticize somebody as anti-Semitic when they're just not.
Yeah.
He's absolutely right. And this is exactly what I've been trying to teach everybody watching my show. The right view of Israel is they are a country, has a right to exist. They can defend themselves. And sometimes they're a great ally to us. That is all true. The flip side of that is that sometimes Israel does stuff that might be best for them, or they think it's best for them, and it doesn't align with us, and that's okay too. And guys, that's just the truth. But JD is getting crushed over this because the neocons don't like this. The neocons love using Israel as an excuse for war. They don't actually care about Israel. Some of them do. But for the most part, they just love the fact they can get into the war any stinking time they want because of Israel. They can always use it as an excuse. And that is City of London influence all over, because City of London always wants to have an opportunity to get into war no matter what. And that, my friends, is where we see the City of London influence in Israel, which does still exist. And hopefully they're breaking free of it. I do believe Trump is working on that. But remember, it's not the people who are bad. It's the influence that is always about war all the time. Sometimes justified, often not, especially not how. But remember, the psychopaths are shrieking, as Donald Trump Jr. put us out yesterday. It's hard not to notice nearly all the people shrieking like psychopaths about my father's peace deal to end the war opposed him in 16 and 24 primary. They were all the DeSantis ones. Ben Shapiro, maybe? Can I serve that up to you guys? He achieved his goal and destroyed the Iranian nuclear program. Sorry, guys, he's not doing an endless war. And this is a response to Cernovich, who wrote, look at the Never Trump cover of National Review. Same people going after JD. He shouldn't lose any sleep. They all went in against MAGA in 2016, lost. Look at the 24 primary, same usual suspects, not one Iowa caucus win. 100% true. There is a massive massive attack right now on JD Vance, and they're using this deal as a part of it. And it's very interesting to me that Trump keeps putting him out there. Trump keeps putting Vance out there because I do believe this is the presidential warm-up. Vance handles this, and the Iran deal goes well, he's a shoo-in for 28. And I'm going to show you guys the numbers that prove it. Just a reminder that Charlie Kirk last year wrote this against National Review and this whole neocon establishment. National Review is added against smearing conservatives by offering false binary. According to the author, one is either 100% for war with Iran or one is anti-Israel. There's no in between. I can't be both pro-Israel, which I am, indisputable fact, and anti-rushing into another quagmire regime change. These people are destroying support by Israel by offering intellectually dishonest option of either being for us or against us. Bush presented a similar argument. His legacy has been tarnished as a result. These people have no clue how much they're hurting the cause they claim to champion. I pray for peace, pray for long-term stability about Israel. I trust the president to ensure Iran does not have nukes or ballistic missiles to strike Israel, and I pray we can reach the conclusion without destabilizing Iran, causing a civil war, sparking another Muslim refugee crisis, position shared by the vast majority of Americans. Shabbat shalom. And he's 100% right. You see, the thing is, guys, what Trump is doing, what Trump is trying to accomplish is the end of the war system, the end of the Middle Eastern destabilization system to always keep war going, which is the City of London system, the City of London influence. That is so much bigger than just Israel. And Israel will benefit from that because it will stabilize the Middle East. And that is what Trump's trying to accomplish here. And the problem is, and I see this all the time on my channel, people who come in and they only see it through Israel's eyes myopically. They don't see the bigger picture, which will be the thing that saves Israel. As Trump said the other day, we're the only people who have your back. Without us, you guys are screwed. Right now, everybody else hates you, wants to take you out. And that is true. Israel would be allowed to be if Iran had gotten nukes, Israel would be the one struck to start World War III. They would eliminate Israel to get World War III going. This just makes perfect sense for everybody who pays attention to this stuff, anybody who studied the Middle East, anybody who understands how City of London works. Why do you think they wanted Iran to have nukes so bad? Because those are the people they could get crazy enough to actually preemptively use them. That makes sense. And as Trump has said, if I didn't come in, Israel would have been wiped off the map. So Trump knows this from his own intel. The only way to get peace for Israel is to destroy the City of London system. It's the only way. And Trump knows this, JD knows this, and this is what they're actually fighting for. A lot of the Israel supporters don't know this. And that is why they get so upset when we don't do everything the way Bibi Netanyahu says we should do it. But I'm sorry, I'm an American, and I think Trump is a much better leader and much smarter about what's going on in the world than Bibi Netanyahu. Sorry, not sorry. And I want Israel to be successful. I want Israel to be safe, and I want them to have peace in the Middle East. And the only way to do it is Trump's way, not Bibi's way. Because Bibi might temporarily be successful in wiping out a lot of his enemies, but then the whole world will turn on him and he'll be stuck. That is why we cannot do it Bibi's way. We got to do it Trump's way. And that's the messaging going on right now, folks. I've been thinking about this a lot. That's why Trump's being hard on Israel right now, because what they've been doing could screw up what Trump's trying to accomplish, which ultimately is exactly what Israel claims to want. And that's what we want for that country and for those people. Now, for everybody who always doubts me about Trump and the globalists being the main cause of stuff, last week he went into the G7 and announced, "I'm the boss," to which they all nervously giggled and he sat down. But here with Mark Caputo, Trump had this to say about that experience.
You walked in and you said, "I'm the boss."
Yeah.
How many of them believe that?
All of them. But I was just being funny.
Uh-huh.
What happened is they were all sitting, and then I walked into the room, and it was just sort of funny because it's a very long table, but there's only 7 of them. The table is meant for like 30 people, so the whole end of the table looked like almost a perfect podium type setup, right? And I saw them all sitting. They're all well-known figures, right? The heads of countries. We had a couple of others in there too, as you know. Some, like as an example, Modi of India, great guy. A lot of people came. They're allowed to come if they want and sit. But I walked in there, these leaders, and I just looked at them. I said, "I'm the boss, and you remember." And you know that was done as a joke. This thing got carried all over the world. I can't believe it. I was just being cute, funny.
No, he wasn't. Him saying it got carried all over. The White House is the one who put up on repeat for an hour. This is the best part. But again, he just said when he the first part is so good.
You walked in and you said, "I'm the boss."
Yeah.
How many of them believe that?
All of them.
That's it right there. You walked in, how many believe that? All of them. That's all you need to know, man. That's all you need to know. Trump is not, it was not a joke, but you know, he's got to say that he's playing the game, but then he went on to describe how many people were there. And it's just, oh man, I love it so much. And then Trump this weekend again, the wording and the positioning to get out of NATO and totally break City of London's whole system, because once they lose the military, good luck. He keeps framing it this way, so we're headed in that direction. He says, after spending trillions of dollars on NATO, Italy and its prime minister wouldn't even think of becoming involved with the Islamic Republic of Iran, their serious nuclear threat. For decades, we defend them, but when tested, they're not there to defend us and the rest of the world. Not good. This is directly, it's indirectly targeted at all of NATO. It's directly targeted at Giorgia Meloni. Giorgia Meloni, who is very pro-Trump, who was on our side and was bringing reform to Italy at first. And then all of a sudden last year, things started changing. She started aligning with the globalists again. The question is, did she turn because she was paid? Did she turn because of blackmail? Was it willingly or unwillingly? I don't know. But Trump has made her a focus lately. And the question, I think what he's trying to do is shake her out of it and see if she'll come back, because he had an ally in Europe, or if she's digging in. But it's pretty clear Trump's still setting this whole stage for getting out of NATO. And I mean, I don't think you can ignore it. Matt Morris reported there's very clearly a coordinated media operation targeted JD Vance. I wonder who's paying for it. We've covered that extensively, but I wanted to show you guys Morris sees it as well. And then this happened this weekend, which is very interesting. Trump announced that Keir Starmer was going to be resigning. He failed badly on two important subjects, immigration and energy. I wish him well. You guys realize every time Trump says, I wish him well, somebody gets taken out? Well, he just did it again. The funny thing is, and the very interesting is, Trump announced this before Starmer announced it, before the papers announced it. Trump was the first one to put it out there. And sure enough, last night, Keir Starmer resigned. Who's the boss, guys? I think we know. But this is fascinating. Keir Starmer has now resigned, and the replacement is up. It's Andy something. I can't remember his full name. He's just as bad as Starmer. He's a little better spoken, but he's just as bad as Starmer. We're not seeing reform yet, but Trump again wielding his power here. Knocking out a world leader, and very interestingly, it was over the leader of UK. Fascinating stuff. Now, while all this was going on, we just had a major win in South America. In Colombia, the right-wing guy knocked out the socialist. This is huge. Seems that congratulations from Bessent are in order for El Tigre on being elected Colombia's new president. Colombia is the latest example of voters across Latin America rejecting failed leftist policies, instead choosing to support pro-market, pro-growth defenders of economic prosperity and freedoms. Brighter days for Colombians ahead, and a thriving Colombia benefits the U.S., Western Hemisphere, and the whole world. And Rubio was one of the first to call it out as well. You think Rubio might be working on his passion project, which is South and Central America? I think he might be. Look what's happened. Speaking of the Donroe Doctrine of getting the whole Western Hemisphere aligned with American interests, look what's happened since USAID dried up. June of 2023, they have it reversed. It's in South America, red is left. 10-3. Today, 7-6 right-wing leaders. Guys, that we're taking South America back, and sometimes we're just using the elections because the leftists no longer have the money to do it. This is huge. We're seeing a complete restructuring. By the way, Bolsonaro, who was jailed in Brazil before he could win a second term, his son was just running and winning, and he just got jailed. So Brazil is fighting hard to stay left. They really don't want to lose Brazil. Wonder why? Wonder why the leftist globalists don't want to lose Brazil. It's not only the biggest, most important country in the Southwest Hemisphere, but I digress. So while this is going on, Trump is about to see major approval changes. And CBS News, conflict with Iran, what should U.S. do now? 78% agree to end it. This tells you right here that it's only a fraction of people, even though they're very loud on social media saying what Trump did is wrong. It's a bad deal. We need to go back. We should never have let up. We should have taken out the regime. 1 out of 5 Americans, just slightly over 1 out of 5 Americans actually in this poll. Now, it's a YouGov poll, so it could be a little slanted one way or the other. I would say, they're always looking to make Trump look bad, so they probably push this number down a little bit. Maybe it's in the 80s. Regardless, you can see this is overwhelming. The people support what Trump's doing right now. In fact, the deal itself had only 13% disapproval last week. So the neocons, Ted Cruz, they're on the wrong side of history here. And as long as the deal holds, I'm telling you, this is going to projectile JD Vance into the front. And I think that's why they have him out there. I think this is positioning for 2028, which is why Trump sent him out there. Now, Victor Davis Hanson, who has just been one of the best on uncovering all this, he's a former neocon in the Republican establishment, but he's woken up because he's a true believer. He's woken up to the greatness of what Trump's doing. And he did a wonderful segment, which I'm not going to play it all because it's a little long, but I do want to read some of the highlights. So Victor Davis Hanson called out critics of the newly signed U.S.-Iran preliminary agreement, arguing they're misreading the leverage. On Jesse Waters, he disputed what he described as misconceptions. They suffered probably $500 billion to a nuclear military industrial complex that took them 50 years to build. I've heard many people in the military, military adjacent, I should say, saying it's $2 trillion total, but he says $500 billion to their nuclear military industrial complex. Trump admin's memorandum of understanding with Iran was released this week, laying out terms of the deal reached by both parties for a 60-day ceasefire to work things out. Deal itself has drawn criticisms, he says, but they keep saying, well, the strait was open before and now it's closed, and now we had to renegotiate to get it open. It was only open because they chose not to cause trouble, he said. They chose not to cause trouble because the last 7 presidents said, we don't dare touch you. We won't interfere with your nuclear programs. Sanctions on Iran, its oil distribution efforts to put pressure on the Middle Eastern nation given U.S. leverage. They think time's on Iran's side, time's not on Iran's side. And as Hansen argues, like I said earlier, if the conflict goes past midterms, Trump will be less constrained. He says they're terrified. If he wins the midterms, price of gas goes down. He's got a free hand, and he already has a free hand now. They're afraid Trump is going to drag it out because if he drags out after midterms, after 250th anniversary, he'll have a lot more options than he does now when he's worried about gas and midterms. So dynamics upside down, they're the ones who have the time clock. And I would argue that Victor is completely right. So with all this happening, we have Iran on the time clock. We've shown they're capitulating. And part of that is, we know, by Bessent lifting these oil sanctions, that they've actually given us something. So that's trending in the right direction. All the right people are angry. Meanwhile, Trump going to the globalists, I'm the boss, knocks Keir Starmer out just a few days later, signals about getting out of NATO again, and meanwhile, South America is becoming red. Blue for them, but are red. The right-wingers are starting to take back this hemisphere. It's pretty amazing stuff what Trump's pulling off, guys. So regardless how you look at it, whether you like the deal or not, there's one thing you can't deny at this point is Trump's foreign policy is working. The results are incredible. And the one argument you can make is maybe we have more to go than others think. Okay, fine. Some of us would say we're further ahead. Some of us not as much. And we can have that disagreement. But there's no arguing right now that what Trump's doing is working and we're winning. And I'm going to continue to bet on him on that going forward. And that would mean very good things for the midterms in 2028. All right, guys, hit that like and subscribe. Thank you for your attention to this matter on this segment. I got a lot more coming up here, so don't turn that dial. But before I do, I want to get into the chat, catch up with you guys, make sure I don't miss anything. And first of all, let me check on Super Chats. I did see one come in from Motley Cruel with the $2 Super Chat. Thank you for supporting the channel, Motley. Says, can you get Susan Kinkinda to do an hour with you? To be 100% open, I've already reached out to Susan, and I just haven't heard back yet. So I'm really hoping I could have a talk with her soon. My getting to know Rich from Rich Does Politics has been great, and he is obviously connected to Susan. So we're trying to figure that out, and I would love to have a talk with the the Promethean Action folks, Susan and Mike Steger, Barbara. They would be wonderful to have on. So, and I think you guys should all check out their content if you haven't already. They're wonderful, and they truly understand what Trump's doing economically, and breaking down the City of London system in very in-depth, wonderful ways. Let's see. DJ says, people should remember Iran needs to win something too. Art of the deal. Real questions. We have a bigger win from the deal. Ignore the incoming noise. 100%. I completely agree with you there. Venezuela will switch in August. Probably. I hope you're right. D3 says, like many major historical changes, the one Trump's making, the appearance of nothing happening going on for a long time until one day everything happens at once. I completely agree with that. It's the... who was it that said that quote? It was like, in 100 days, nothing can happen. And one day, 100 days can happen. Something like that. I can't remember the exact quote, but yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you on that. Ted Cruz's masters hate Vance because they see him as a turncoat for becoming a champion of Trump. I agree with that. Absolutely. JFK Jr. is the next president. No, it's not going to happen. It's a nice thought, but I'll tell you, I get this wish casting for presidents a lot. And I have to tell you guys that you cannot become president unless you are known on the scene and have an apparatus behind you. So even if JFK Jr. is alive, which, I don't personally think so, but I know many do, good people that do. And there's just no way he would have what it needed to you can't just show up one day and become president. That's not how it works. Becoming president is legitimately one of the hardest things to do in the world. And you can't this is why Tucker Carlson will never be president, Joe Kent, Thomas Massey. They don't have the structure to make it happen. And they're not well known enough. They don't have the money behind them. It just can't happen. And I think that just shows a fundamental misunderstanding of how politics work in our nation. But it would be interesting if he even showed up. Well, let's do that first. Then we can talk about president next. Lisa Doxey said, Trump posted Iran will agree to major weapons inspections. Really? Let's go look at Truth Social for a second then. Let's see what Trump's posting here. He wrote, everybody's fully aware Iran will agree to have major weapons inspections in order to ensure nuclear honesty long in the future. Awesome. That's great. Spencer Pratt, he won't be president either. But I think Pratt has a legitimate chance to be governor of California in the next 10 years. And then if Pratt could pull that off, then we'll talk about down the road. But he's got to win something first. Losers don't just become president out of nowhere. You know, Trump's the only person, guys, in our entire history, going back to Washington, we've had one president who wasn't a politician or military, and that man is Donald Trump. So don't think, like, Trump is not a new trend. The trend is you got to have some service to your country previously, some wins previously to become president, and then you got to have that apparatus behind you. Pratt's not there yet. This is the thing I'm telling you. Like, we gotta work your way up. Obama was a senator. So, and he also he'd been a senator in Illinois for a few years. So he was very popular. That's what I'm saying. You don't just become out of nowhere. You're a senator, you're a governor, or you're a military. That's how that's how you start building up to become president. You don't just come out of nowhere. It never happens. And so, like, when all these, and here, this is what's so funny to me, when all these people push, like Thomas Massey or Tucker Carlson, these podcasters, these are supposed to be people who tout themselves as political experts or historical experts. And so they all know to say that one of those guys could become president is 100% absolutely retarded. It's not, there's no chance whatsoever of it happening. And they know that, but they lie anyways, because what they want, they don't want these guys to actually become president. There's no chance. What they want to do is push so that somebody like Thomas Massey could maybe get 5% and could crush MAGA, and a Democrat would get in charge. And then if a Democrat gets in charge, the chances of the establishment taking over a Republican Party go back up. That's what they want. That is the game plan. The game plan is not to have Tucker or Massey as president. It's to ruin MAGA. It's to ruin Vance or Rubio. That's the plan. And it's just important to know that. That's what they actually want. Because you'd have to be absolutely stupid to think one of those guys actually has a real chance. You just don't know politics. Okay, let's get on to the next segment, folks. I want to talk about this justice angle, which I love to cover, which when I say justice, I mean what the Trump administration is accomplishing and exposing to make major changes here, how he's fulfilling promises to better our country. And so I wanted to start with this part, last week. So real quick, let me answer this. Seth says, are you aware of the Gulf states, right-wing South and Central American U.S. alliance foreign financial and military? I don't know all the details, Seth. So if you want to put some details in there, I'll read it. Peter says, Obama's the first low talent in the Senate or House for a short time before running for president. Yeah, he was only 2 years. I don't know if he's the only one who ran, but I think he's the only one who's won. So that matters. Bolt Upright, what are my thoughts on Kim Clement? Type in Kim Clement on my channel and you'll see videos I've done on it. And that's the best way. I don't have time to go into it right now. Okay. Let's get into this. So last week, Tulsi Gabbard dropped the nuclear bomb on the establishment, on the deep state, and on Anthony Fauci, that he was engaged in the cover-up over COVID. And she's got the receipts. He was in it with the CIA, FBI. Oh, yeah, the current Democratic candidate for governor of California, Becerra, was involved in it too. Yeah. And guess what? None of the mainstream media are covering it. This is only one of the biggest stories of the last 5-6 years because it pertains directly to the biggest story of the last decade, which is COVID and how it affected us all. And yet not a peep. ABC, CNN, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, New York Times. They're not even trying to debunk it because in this case, it's such a bad story for them that they don't even want people to know about it. They can't even run a expose on why the story is wrong. No, we don't even want you looking into it. Because if Anthony Fauci was wrong, the guy we all talked about as the hero of the left, the superhero who was saving us from COVID, they got all the Democrats to worship this guy. If he's wrong, is everything wrong? We can't allow this one to get out there. So this tells you exactly all you need to know about how scared they are. What Tulsi did last week is a monster bombshell moving forward. And it will lead to major things happening to Fauci. It might lead to all of the preordained pardons from Biden being overturned, because the Fauci thing could be the vessel through which it's challenged. He was pre-pardoned. How do you do that? Well, it's never been done before, so we'll see if it gets undone. In the meantime, this is going to keep spreading, and thanks to places like X being set free, it will get out there. And this is one of those major things you can challenge people with, because it's not just that, oh, MAGA says Fauci was bad. We got the legitimate documents now, and it's honestly much worse than many were expecting, especially when you consider the fact that Biden's CIA and FBI were a big part of it. So can't wait to see how this keeps playing out, but this is the tell that they're scared. They won't report it at all. And while they're terrified over that, things keep getting worse for Gavin Newsom and his wife. Taking out the main threat in the 2028 election, that seems like a good deal. Newsom's wife was laundering herself so much money from her NGO, she was actually in the top 5% for pay from all charities in the entire nation. Wow. That's good work you're doing there, Newsy. That's not all. Newsom bought his $3.7 million Sacramento estate through an LLC, but the LLC wasn't on his tax returns. Uh-oh. It just gets worse and worse for them. He's released at least partly to journalists in closed-door viewing sessions his tax returns. If you look at that as income, about 1.2 to 1.4 million, and it doesn't add up for his expenses. He's got massive mortgages, 625,000 mortgage payments. He's got at least 1 million in living expenses. Just the two don't add up. You think? When I look at Jennifer Newsom's charity, by the way, this is from this interview right here. I'm giving you guys the short version. There's a lot of money. You look at the amount the charity brings in, it's sort of 1 to 1.7 million a year, and she's paying up to a third of it herself in her own company, 300 grand a year. The data analysis looking at charities that size usually pay, and she was in the top 5%. 1 million to block a casino project, 5 million to an office for his wife he created, 300,000 from his donor PG&E to his wife's NGO. Woo, Newsom. That's bad news for them, guys, because right now there's two front runners for the Democrats in 2028. Gavin Newsom, who by far has the best talent and chance to make it work, and Kamala Harris, which I think all of us would agree, bring on the Kamala 2.0. We'll love it. I can't wait to see Miss Boxwine back in action, giggling, word salads. It'll be hilarious. Imagine her going up against JD Vance or Marco Rubio in a situation where there's less election fraud because of all the changes Trump's made, maybe even the Save America Act passed. A lot of these people like Newsom outed, more money dried up. Oh yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. 2028 will be a lot of fun. Please bring on Kamala. And that just tells you how pathetic the Democrats are right now, that those are their leaders. So I can't wait to see what's going on with that. Now, while that's going on, the Democrats are scrambling. Oh, look at this. FISA has just expired because the Democrats and the Republicans don't want Bill Pulte in. And Trump called their bluff last week on the fact that they weren't going to appoint, once he got his new guy in instead of Pulte, they weren't going to put a new lawyer in charge of his guy, his choice of SDNY, which is only the hub of many, many, many files, such as COVID files, the Epstein files. Yeah, SDNY is the hub for a lot of the dark, deep state stuff. And they were going to try to get Trump's new guy out of there to be ODNI, but not replace the SDNY guy. So Trump rug pulled them all and said, I'm keeping Pulte and I'm withdrawing my nomination until you guys figure this out. Oh, and by the way, pass the Save America Act. And now FISA, which is not popular with anyone in MAGA, the surveillance system, one of the babies of the deep state, the Republican establishment, the Democrats. This is one of their key issues. They just never let go. And now Trump's allowed it to expire. We're now in unknown territory. So what's this mean? Trump, because of political reasons, I believe, never could fully come out against FISA. He could only call out the excesses, all the bad stuff, because guess what, guys? Sometimes Trump plays politics, and that's why he wins, and people who don't play politics don't. But now we're seeing the proof's in the pudding. He just got FISA to expire. It's going to be fascinating to see what they do to get this back up. But for now, guys, the surveillance state is severely weakened, and we can all take a big win on that as we keep seeing what's going on with Pulte. Now, Matt Morse reports more of what the Trump administration is getting done that we should all be stoked about. Mass deportations are ramping up. Approximately 400,000 of ICE-involved illegal alien arrests took place between April and May. Guys, that is a massive jump. All of last year, because ICE wasn't fully funded yet. They didn't have all the agents they needed. It took time to get the gears turning. All of last year, we deported about 900,000. I think it was 800 to 900,000 from these kind of arrests. This means the new pace is 2.4 million a year. That's more than double what happened last year. Oh, and don't forget, all the other people are self-deporting. Last year, over 2 million, 2.4 million, I believe it was, self-deported. So we got 3 million out last year without the funding. We got 3 million out last year without everything we needed. Now everything's funded through 2029 and ramped up, and we're starting to see the beginning. Remember, everybody, in March when they were attacking Trump over Iran, you know the other thing they were attacking over? Oh, they've given up on mass deportations. They've gone back on their promise to us. Steve Bannon reported this. Tucker reported it, of course. Megan, Candace, go down the list. They all reported, Alex Jones, no, Trump's administration giving up on deportations. All lies. Why? Because it's actually jumped way up. And as Matt says, you can't just snap your fingers and deport 20 million or more. You need to build out 287G partnership agreements with local police, coordinate deportation flights, establish third nation deportation locations, emerge victorious in a never-ending series of legal battles, etc. We're making it happen. The Trump administration is proving to us promises kept. And every single area where we keep getting lied to about how the Trump administration's failing us, whether it's the economy, whether it's deportations, whether it's the wars, everything always turns out to be a lie. Just like they said with Iran. Oh, he promised us no more wars. No, he promised no forever wars. Guess what? 3 months, it's over. Done. No more stupid wars, Trump said. Oh, and by the way, that forever war, it sadly cost us 13 soldiers. That's terrible. But 13 soldiers in a win this massive, especially if the Iran deal works out, we've never seen that kind of success before. How about Venezuela, done in 45 minutes? This is incredible. We're watching the Trump administration not only fulfill all their promises, but going above and beyond what most would say is possible. That's the real truth here, and that's what we're seeing with deportations as it continues to ramp up. Now, one of the things Trump's doing is cleaning up the Washington, D.C. And the pool that was cleaned up was just vandalized. But I'm here to report that the Trump administration is is really going to start hurting leftists bad here because they're going after him hardcore. Trump posts, of the many statues and fountains we rebuilt, renovated, cleaned, and fixed, the only one vandalized was the reflecting pool, which is taken care of ASAP. It's been given 300-foot-long gash, chemicals illegally placed in the water, and beautiful new grass field has been destroyed with a gigantic 8647 chemically carved into it, probably inspired by dirty cop James Comey. That's an important shout out right there. Please remember there's a 10-year prison sentence for the destruction or even the attempted destruction of such things, which will be fully enforced. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Why does this matter? Because 10 years for federal property has not been enforced for the last several years, for the last several presidents. If Trump enforces this, guys, this stops a lot of the protesting and rioting, because these guys, these kids, these dummies who do this stuff, yeah, a lot of them are paid to do it. But if you're getting $15 an hour for doing something like this from George Soros, and the opposite is that, oh, they're actually going to jail now for 10 years, yeah, good luck signing those people up. It's not going to happen as much. This is why this matters. This is an opportunity for Trump to lay the smackdown on some of these hardcore leftists. And again, the peace and justice returning to our nation is a wonderful thing to watch. This is the kind of area where this doesn't look like a big deal, but this ultimately is a big deal. Now, with all this going on, we keep seeing the Trump administration do all this great stuff for us when you're actually paying attention, okay? The media doesn't report this, but I do. Trump's out there giving us some interesting language. And if you know, you know. But here's Trump the other day.
We are tremendously grateful for everything that you do each and every day, and all of the people that work here. Look at the condition of this and how beautiful everything is. It's always tippy-top. It's tippy-top, and we appreciate
tippy-top. Now, I always get crap for this, and I don't care, because I find the Q stuff fascinating. And the fact that they keep doing connections to it, the Trump administration, keep doing messaging that comes from those posts. You can make whatever argument you want. Maybe they're trolling, having fun. I don't care. It continues to be done. And regardless of what you think, to me, it's a major show of confidence. And he just brought out the whole tippy top thing, which he did once before in his first term, right after a Q post where somebody asked, can you say tip top in your next speech? And Trump did it the very next day. Tippy top. Now Trump's out there, and as Brian Cate says, Trump's out there saying tippy top again, and you're on here blackpilling. 100% right. In fact, Trump has another thing to say to blackpillers. In one of the funniest stories I saw this, well, in a month or more, here is from the upcoming book from the inside on the Trump administration. Trump called Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick a pussy after Lutnick pushed back on Trump's obsession with terrorists at the Liberation Day chaos. It is so funny. It says Trump privately called Howard Lutnick a pussy after Lutnick pushed back on Trump's obsession with the tariffs. I remember when you were 35, you were a killer, Trump said, according to the book. And now you've got your beautiful wife, your big house, and you're just soft. And you're a pussy. You know what you are? You're a pussy. This is too funny, guys. This is what Trump thinks of black pillars. And the fact is he's even calling out his buddies over that, which I think is hilarious. And to me, it just tells you, like, Trump is just does things. And like he said to Howard in this, you used to be a killer and you've gone soft. Well, Trump, out of all the people who got into his 80s, he's remained the killer. And then going back, you know, this for all the black pillars out there, that's what Trump thinks. The White House then posted this today. Very interesting. White House will be Q posting today. And of course, they had a lot of fun with it. You scroll down, it's just dark. Interesting. Until you get to the bottom. And by Q, we mean quantum. Stay tuned. Now, why do you think they'd post that? Do you really think they just wanted to do quantum? It's just a trolling? Or is this messaging? We constantly get Patriots in control. We get all over and over again. They're just sharing with us messaging that goes along with a lot of those who've been following a long time, who've believed that President Trump is defeating this deep state, this globalist cabal, this city of London. And then the White House does this today. This outright in your face. And yes, I know at the end they say quantum, but if you've been following, you know what that means too. So very interesting messaging. And guys, I got to tell you that with what we've seen so far this summer, and now that the Iran thing's getting fixed up, finished, SPLC was a major sign. Trump's getting Pulte in. Tulsi just dropped the bomb on Fauci. We're going to see a lot of momentum building up here. And I have a feeling that things are about to heat up big time. And honestly, I'd argue they already have, but I mean in a more public fashion. And I think that's where we're headed. So I, for one, knowing and seeing all the wins we're getting, the calling out, Newsom, the deportations going up, FISA dying, there's so much winning going on. The economy's starting to turn, which we're going to talk about next. I mean, I don't know, but I'm not blackpilling, and I don't want to be called a pussy by Trump. You guys decide if you want to be. If you want to be on that side of things. All right, hit that like and subscribe. Next, we're going to get into a lot of the positives going into the midterms that we're starting to see because it just keeps getting better for Republicans. But we'll get into that here in a second. But first, let me get back into the chat, catch up with you guys, and on anything tagged towards me, any questions, comments. And remember, guys, if you want to support the channel, you can always send a super chat. It guarantees you get read. So there's always that. Also, another way to support the channel is by becoming a member. If you've noticed, our chat is very nice. It's not botted. It's not spammed. Why is that? Well, because we clean it up. Myself and the moderators take care making sure there's no trolls in the chat. So we don't tolerate disrespect. We don't tolerate dishonor. We don't tolerate spamming nonsense in our chat. We police it so that people like you can come in, have a great chat with people, actually have a good conversation on these live shows, and reach out to me if you try to get my attention for questions and comments. Disagreements are welcome as long as they're handled honorably. So just letting you guys know, if you like that and you really enjoy being a part of this community, well, the best community on YouTube, which is here in the chat, is even better in the membership, because in the membership you get access to the 24/7 Discord. You can jump in there for free by clicking on the Patreon link in the description. You get a free month. Try it out, see if you like it, see if you want to stay. You'll get that plus members only live shows, members only podcasts, and members only classes that I teach. And it's all in there for free for a month if you want to test it out and support the channel at the same time. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Okay, let me get into the chat, make sure I'm not missing anything. Let's see, did anybody tag me on anything? I don't think so. I think you guys are just enjoying your own conversation today, and that's great. And if not, I'll just move on to the next segment. Yeah, I don't see myself tagged anywhere. So, oh wait, here we go. Dixieland says, I guess I shouldn't say Kamalama Ding Dong. Say it all you want, man. Hannah says, I'm voting red in the midterms because Democrats are crazy. That is true. Fact check, true. I keep saying if I think someone here is a black pillar, what do you mean? I don't understand what you mean by that. DJ says, what am I looking forward to the most? 28 RNC or DNC primaries. RNC will be interesting. DNC will be the most entertaining. Hunter Biden, AOC, Kamala, Stephen A. Smith. I got to tell you, I am looking forward to, I'm not looking too forward to 28. I am very excited for this midterms because I believe that if we win the midterms, which at this point I think is actually a very strong chance, that the crash out is going to be unbelievably massive because they thought they had this midterms in the bag. They were always worried about 24. They thought they had this one in the bag. So for them to lose this midterms will be glorious to watch. Looking ahead to 28, I'm looking forward to Vance and I do believe it'll be Vance, but if it's not, it'll be Rubio. I'm looking forward to Vance or Rubio absolutely demolishing whoever the liberal candidate is, because the liberals, oh look, my blue screen's all jacked up. I didn't notice that earlier. Whoever runs for the Democrats is going to be a total joke, whether it's Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, Newsom, go down the line. All the scary people, like they actually could have a shot, they won't allow. Like Josh Shapiro, he could be a formidable opponent. They won't. He's Jewish. He has no chance in the Democratic Party. So 28 will just be fun because it's going to be like one big party the whole time, a smackdown. I think we're just going to win 28 running away with it. I really do. And I'm not saying that as overconfident. We have to show up. We have to vote. We have to fight. But if we fight and show up, we're gonna crush 28. I have every confidence of that. Let's see. Do I think the Save America Act passes? I do. I don't think it's a high chance, but I don't think it's dead. And going back to this is why, because they need and they really want FISA. And Trump will allow FISA to happen, with restrictions built in. And so yeah, I think him tying FISA to Save America could get it done. Let's see. Drop your anchor here. I like it. They're going to run Big Mike. No, they won't. Kung Fu. Listen, I've been hearing that for so long that everybody said in 24, Michelle will not run. I'm telling you that right now. It's never going to happen. She's lazy. She hates politics. She will not run. And they can't get her to do it. If they would have, 24 would have been the chance because they could have swapped her in for Biden easy. But didn't happen. That was the one shot. So it's not going to happen. Let's see here. D3, what do I think regarding the Q post about what would happen after 2020? I don't know which one you're talking about. I'm sorry. What happened to Tallarico? I mean, he's a joke. We'll see how it goes. Why do I advertise other channels? Who's advertising a channel? I'm not. DJ, I'm predicting a massive red wave for midterms. Shock everyone. I'd love to see if midterms are a red wave. I don't care if it's a red wave. I hope. I mean, obviously, I don't think it will be, but I do think we can win, and I do think we will win at this point. But all that matters is we win, because to them, that will be a red wave. That will be a red wave. So. Anybody else right now? I don't think so. Carson Brown with the $5 super chat. Thank you, Carson, for supporting the channel. He says, do you think they dropped the info on Fauci to see the reaction of the public, to see if the public has the stomach for his arrest? No, I don't. I think we're well past that. I think so after winning 24, Trump no longer cares about making the middle happy. He only cares about making the base happy, because the base is growing despite what they tell you. And as he wins, it'll only grow more because it's just making America better. And for the midterms, you only need your base. Midterms are not decided by independents. Independents don't usually vote in midterms. So all Trump has to do is make the base happy. The base wants Fauci done. And guess what? So does Trump. Trump hates these people. He hates them. Fauci is one of the big reasons that 2020 was allowed to happen, because Fauci was out there pushing COVID and Trump was kind of stuck. You can see how he dealt with it. I think actually looking back, the way Trump handled COVID looks better and better by the day, knowing what he was up against. But he didn't have the infrastructure he does now to fight back. So the fact he got us through there and we didn't get stuck with lockdowns after Trump left is amazing. And that was a win in of itself. But yeah, I think the public absolutely has a stomach for it. And I think they're working towards the actual arrest. It's not about testing the waters anymore. I think we're past that point for almost everything. Anything else here before we move on? Trump is the precedent's president. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Why? What did you do to? I think I know what you're talking about, but I don't really know how to respond to it right now. All right. What? Okay, so Jonathan has an interesting post, which I got to debunk right now because it might be well-intentioned, but it's very wrong. He says Trump doesn't want Save America Act. It exposes rhinos, forces post office one-day paper ballot. I can see him endorsing RFK and Massey ticket as his heirs. Dude, you are so off base. He loves RFK. He hates Massey, and for good reason. Massey is a total deep stater asset. Massey's a fraud, and anybody who thinks otherwise at this point still just hasn't woken up. He's a total abject fraud, and I've done dozens of hours of content exposing him, but he would never, and Trump actually does want Save America very badly. In fact, he's willing to see. That's such a crazy thing to say, because Trump is actually hurting his political capital with the rhinos and establishment Republicans right now because of this right here, which he tied to the Save America Act. Trump has already gotten several rhinos out of office. Cornyn, Tillis, Cassidy. That's just this round. McConnell. So that's just a crazy thing to say. So Jonathan, you either are well-intentioned and have no idea what you're talking about, or you're a troll. I can't decide which yet, but I'm going to let you stay for now because I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt, because that's a crazy thing to say. Okay. It says, why put no trans and other anti-dem pills? Because he actually wants to get it done. That's why. And it's the best chance to do it nationwide. So, okay. I don't think you're bad based on that comment. I just think that that was a wild thing to say. A wild thing to say. All right. Kevin, my God, man. Are you serious again, bro? You just blow my mind. Kevin Huffman with the $100 super chat. He has become one of the biggest supporters of the channel. And Kevin, I am just floored by your generosity, man. Thank you again. You are just an incredible blessing to me. And Kevin writes, I have it on good authority. The Trump saga is a nail biter. Amen, brother. It absolutely is. It's better TV than Netflix. That's what I say. I say it all the time. Right now, politics is the best show on TV. So that's why I watch it the most. That's why I pay attention the most, because it is fascinating. And I am stoked to see where it ends up. So Kevin, as always, brother, thank you so much. You are just a super blessing to me. Thank you, man, for supporting the channel. By the way, just in case you guys don't know, okay, other than the YouTube, the ads they run on here, which I get a fraction of, everything else here is supported by people like you, okay? I'm supported by the membership, by the super chats. I'm an independent. I don't have anybody behind me. I'm not sponsored. And so I do rely upon the community, and I'll always keep the show free. I'll always tie up member benefits for everybody else who supports, and just letting you guys know, so you're not like feeding into a machine here when you give. You're feeding directly into me making the show happen. So thank you to everybody who supports the show. Dante with a $10 super chat says, Ace, our nation's heading towards an ideology of communism and socialism. What do you think the Trump administration can do to combat this? How long will it take to at least erase or tame? Well, it's already been tamed, because we're in power and we're growing. We're not fading back. We're growing. Are the Democrats getting crazier? Yeah, but they're also getting smaller. The crazier they get, the smaller they get. I've done several videos on how the trend is rightward in our country. We are actually growing the more common sense, traditional value base of this country again. People want America back. So that's already happening. We've already won the main battle, Dante. The thing we all have to do now is keep our foot on the gas. Every single one of us does our part every day, to whichever extent God calls us, to whichever extent it's burning in your heart, whether it's running for office or whether it's just talking to your kids or grandkids. Whatever it is, do it. And you do that. I do my part. Everybody does their part. We will win, and because we're already winning. The thing is, Trump galvanized us to make momentum. The question is, are we going to carry it after him? That's the question. and we have to. We don't have a choice. So to your question, we're not heading towards an ideology of communism. So that's just not true. The left is getting more radical. That is true. And that's why it seems bigger. But the actual demographics it just doesn't support your angle. And a lot of people don't look at that because they see what's online and they're scared. I get it, because the left has gone crazy, but they are getting smaller. And so we're not heading in that direction. We were, but we beat it. And now we keep our foot on the gas and we won't go back. So, but thank you for the support, man. I appreciate you. Let's see here. Oh my God. Bruce Rice just sent 50 memberships, man. Thank you so much. That is a huge blessing. 50 people are now members here on YouTube. You guys now get full access to all the members' lives here on the channel. Please go to the community posts where you will see members only posts, and those have the links to the members live. So I hope you guys all check it out. And man, Bruce, that was just an amazing blessing. Thank you so much for that. And glad a lot of people get to see the members lives now. That's awesome. That is awesome. You guys are great. Amazing pour out today of support. So you guys are just awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Justin Mimo says he's been baptized and I helped him open his heart to Jesus, redemption. That's amazing, Justin. Man, thank you. And thank you for sharing that. That's incredible. That's the greatest gift of all, is that you've chosen Jesus, man. That's awesome. Good for you. Good for you. Let's see. Rocco, if you think YouTubers make a lot of money, you have no idea what you're talking about. Is Steve Bannon fake MAGA? Yes, he is, Rob. You should know this by now if you've been paying attention to my show. I only did about 8-10 hours actually on Steve Bannon's text to Jeffrey Epstein and how he was trying to stop Trump from being president and subvert his first term. And Trump himself kicked Steve Bannon out. So yes, Rob, you're wrong again, brother. But I don't expect you to be right at this point because it's pretty clear you just don't pay attention to anything. Oh man. All right. Let's, all right, let's get into it, folks. Shall we? Okay. We got a lot more to get to. So we're going to talk about midterms and where we're headed, because I do think things are about to shift. We are hitting momentum vibes right now. And this is, man, I got some crazy people coming in here today. ICE is working on the inside protecting illegal aliens. Are you guys even going to try? Are you guys even going to try? That's hilarious. I'm not, listen, okay, let me address this before we move on. I'm seeing a lot of stuff about Matt Morse, and including will I interview Matt Morse. Listen, I think Matt seems like a great guy. I haven't seen something from Matt that has really taught me anything yet. And so I'm not against him. I think he's doing a great work. I don't have a lot of guests on, and I'm only going to have guests on people who are helping me grow. And I don't watch Matt for that reason. I have a lot of other people. I'm not saying I'd never interview Matt if he's up for it. But by the way, his channel is way bigger than mine, so I doubt he'd be up for it. But there's just a lot of other people I want to learn from first and bring to my audience before I would Matt. So we'll see. Eventually, maybe get there. Coop the Realtor, thank you so much. Do we ever think we'll get a Q reveal? Probably not. I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. Okay, I think I got caught up to where I want to be. All right. Fabuloso, if you want to support the channel in a different way, the best way to do is Patreon, which only takes 8%, or yeah, there is a Venmo listed in my description. So, but thank you guys for all the support. You guys are amazing. I really appreciate it. Okay. let's go. Let's get into this. So the MAGA momentum is back, baby. We are flying right now in a really good direction. The MOU with Iran, UFC 250, the momentum was already there before. It was a little bit under the, behind the scenes, but it was building, as you'd see if, watching me cover it here. But now it's open and people can feel it. And that matters. As somebody with a marketing background, I'll tell you, how people feel matters more than how they think. Whether you like it or not, it's the truth. And the White House, you can tell, is kind of feeling it as well. They are really pushing it as they came out. America's back with this patriotic summer and just reminding us all of UFC 250, which they're going to continue to push for a while because it was such an overwhelming success. And I got to tell you guys, it's in many other places as well. As of right now, as of May 31st, so 2 weeks ago, RNC currently has 125 million on the books, whereas the DNC is at negative 3 million. The shift in funding continues to favor Republicans. What does that tell you? It tells you, because people vote with their dollars too, it tells you all the momentum's on the Republican side. All the trust is on the Republican side. All the people willing to give is on the Republican side. That's a big deal. And I don't care what the polls say right now. People who vote with their money are more likely to vote in person as well. Follow the money. And money doesn't win elections, but it's often a sign of where the momentum is. And then it helps push close races over the top. This is a massive advantage. And this isn't only money they'll see. People get direct campaign donations, that kind of thing. But again, isn't it funny that ever since USAID got dried up, Democrats just can't seem to fundraise or win elections in third world countries? I don't know. You guys do the math on that. But regardless, Republicans clearly have the edge, and it's only going to continue. Look at this. So the U.S. Economic Surprise Index is up to 63.2 points, highest since August 2023. This index measures the economic data relative to consensus estimates, turning positive when data beats estimates and negative when data misses. This is a big flippin' deal. This metric has risen 57.6 points since late April, posting largest 7-week increase since Q1 2022. Why was it off in 22 and 23? Because the Biden administration was printing money like crazy and pumping up the economy. This time, the effects are real. This move comes amid stronger than expected jobs data. I thought the economy sucked. I thought we're going in the wrong direction. But no. That's what all the naysayers are saying. The Wall Street guys who hate Trump, everybody who's rooting for his failure. Meanwhile, all we're doing is surpassing expectations. Stronger than expected jobs data, ISM services, PMI, factory orders, ADP employment, job openings, and manufacturing PMI, all way over expectations. U.S. Economic Surprise Index is approaching the 79.6 peak recorded in July 23, which will mark the highest level since early pandemic recovery. So you have the peak coming out of COVID, which that was just naturally going to happen because all they did was open stuff up. Boom. You have this peak, which is when the economy was about to crash and the Biden administration just pumped trillions into it. Oh, thanks, Thomas Massey, who was the reason we didn't have a debt ceiling during that time. Yeah, Thomas Massey, libertarian, the principled guy. He's the one who passed it out of committee, which is why Biden had no debt ceiling for a year and a half and could just spend whatever he wanted. That's crazy. Thanks, Thomas Massey. That's why that one peaked. This time, no printing. No, Trump did it the Reagan way on steroids. Cut regulations, cut taxes, tariffs, and getting investment. And now the U.S. economic data is crushing expectations. I told you guys, coming into Q2, end of Q2 into Q3, we'd start seeing a boom. It's starting to happen. It's only a matter of time until people start feeling it. This always happens. Everybody who studied economics for more than 5 minutes historically knows this is the indicator. When all these things start happening, the boom to the people is just coming right up behind it. Usually 6 to 10 months behind it. It's a lag because these are the investors paying for stuff, blowing up, creating new jobs, and then the money starts rolling in from their investments, and that's when the wages start going up. It's coming, guys. It's coming. So, really good. And with all this, we're still winning the culture. As Daily Caller put out today, it's arguably the worst month for Pride since HIV in the 80s. I'm proud this month for once. Several people fighting back. We have the athletes fighting back. We have the guy busted in a charter in, I think it was New York just yesterday, shutting down that whole trans activist organization. Yeah, the pushback is here because we the people aren't standing for it anymore. This is another signal. Culture is shifting. Economy getting better. Culture shifting. Democrats have no money. And again, like I got this question earlier, the rise of communism, socialism. Well, I push back on that because this is what's actually happening. In 2020, Democrats held North Carolina, the advantage of North Carolina registration by 390,000. As of today, Republicans are up 117,000. Guys, that's a 500,000, 500,000 flip of voter registrations in North Carolina, a purple state. That's incredible. And this is not just happening in North Carolina. It's happening nationwide. Whereas nationwide, just since 2020, Republican registrations are up 250,000. We're winning and we're growing. And this is the stuff they don't want you to see. And you know why they don't want you to see it? Because they're terrified that if they lose this midterms, they're not getting back into power again for 10 to 12, 20 years. And I mean that. I've done the videos on it. I've showed you guys the analysis. I've broken it down the demographic changes. Because if we hold the midterms, we are very likely to win 2028. And then the 2030, that census will change everything. So get ready, guys. The shift is already happening. The only question is how far do we take it? And again, they're panicking. Chuck Schumer today warns the Save America Act will remove 25 million people from the voter rolls. Why, Chuck? That's a weird thing to admit, isn't it? Isn't that a strange thing to admit that you would lose 25 million people out of voter rolls because you're just requiring citizenship? Now, his argument is women can't get their birth certificates, which is so stupid. Good, they changed their names. Even women keep pushing back on them on that. So where's the other 25 million? Chucky? We know. We all know. They won't be able to steal anymore. So they're panicking. And they're panicking because they also know they got a bunch of crazy people run for office. James Talarenko has now come out and said, oh, this is my theologian. The trans queer Latinx theologian is inspiring me. This is the guy running for Texas. The vegan running for Texas. Says God is not binary. Plus, they got Graham Plattner up there with all his sexual allegations. The Democrats are freaking out because they know you have to be in the middle to win elections. Even if you're lying, and even if you're going to run like a hardcore leftist like Obama, like Clinton before the Republicans held him in check thanks to Newt Gingrich, like Biden. Yeah, they might run as centrist, but you can't be this crazy out in front. If you're this crazy out in front, it's bad for you. As Doug Schoen, longtime Democratic strategist and pollster, has to say.
With you.
Okay.
What the heck is happening with your party?
It is moving far left. Bernie Sanders has become the ideological leader of the party. The congressional candidates you mentioned, 2 of 3, 3 of 3 may well win. You have Plattner in Maine. You have Abdul El Sayed leading in Michigan. Put another way, my party is being taken over by far-left socialists who do not basically believe, as you heard, in our American values. It's very scary, Lisa.
It is very with you.
Okay.
That's the smart Democrats know. They're scared. And it's amazing that we actually have some of them being honest about it. Because as the Democrats go more socialist, as they go more far left, they will get smaller and smaller. They have no chance of winning. And Americans just aren't going to stand for it. We thoroughly rejected it in 2024. 2016 was a different rejection. That was an establishment rejection, Trump coming in. Then we got Biden in, and they ran it as left as they possibly could run it during that time. They pushed hard, and the country thoroughly rejected them. I don't think people understand sometimes how big a win 2024 was. Remember, they were in power. They were overseeing the elections. They had the rig in, and they still got destroyed. Trump got 50% of the American vote, won the popular vote, first time since George Bush as a Republican. And I got to tell you that win, that 50%, in all likelihood, was actually probably closer to 54 to 57%. That is a thorough shellacking. And that's why Chucky is scared about losing those 25 million voters. Take away 25 million from Kamala, and all of a sudden you got Trump at 77 million, Kamala about 52, 50, 51, somewhere in that range. That is a thorough shellacking. That's 1984 on steroids kind of butt kicking when Reagan won 49 states. That's why they're so scared. See, socialism, communism, the far left, they are not winning. They are not growing. They're not taking over our country. They are losing, and they're grasping at every single straw they can get a hold of to try and stay in power. And those who are traditionally Democrat, who's still more left than we'd like, they're watching it, and they're terrified in real time as this becomes their candidates. And that's terrifying them. And while that's happening, guess what? A lot of the lefties from overseas are coming over here and finding out that America's awesome. Yeah. Here's the Atlantic. The feel-good story of the World Cup is still too good to be true. Most of the people celebrating American excess is not what they seem. Oh, really? You know why they're scared? Because all these people are coming over here to find out America's amazing, and they're reporting it on their social media pages. They're blown away. It's not what we were told. This isn't a fascist Trump country. It's amazing. And guys, that's going to wake even more people up, including leftists here. Says the Atlantic's upset foreigners here for the World Cup are liking America too much. If you wonder why the majority of Democrats no longer like America, it's because of this slop the media they consume constantly feeds them. But this is just, it's too obvious, guys. They can't keep fighting this because these videos are terrifying them.
Guys, I think we owe you a big apology because what we think America's like is exactly not what it's like. Like the news outlets in the UK say America's this, say America's that, say America's this, say America's that. I'm not going to get into detail, but listen, when you go to America, you actually see what it's like with your own two eyes. Honestly, people are so nice here. The hospitality is amazing. People are just so accommodating, and anything you want, they will do it. And the thing is,
for anybody thinking this guy's crazy, because that's not your experience here in America, well, then imagine how bad it must be over there. You know, these guys coming from the lefties, they're going to learn a lot. Because what happens here? See, a bunch of Americans, especially on the left, young Americans, follow these guys. And they're like, oh, Europe's so amazing. Lifting these lefty Europeans. And then these guys come here and they're like, oh, America's amazing. Uh-oh. It kind of blows open your mind, right? And this is becoming a problem for them. Even The Economist. European news media is embarrassed by the videos of Europeans World Cup fans gushing about the amazing media. Amazing USA, they've never been shown by their own news media. Economist says European football fans visiting America are discovering the mass affluence of country's suburbs. The wealth enticing holidaymakers troubles European elites. America, once a peer, seems to be racing ahead. First of all, we were never a peer of Europe since like the early 1800s. We've always been better. But the fact that it's coming out there and people are, this is a big deal. The Economist is super left wing, guys. Economist is not a paper or a magazine we trust. And for them to put this out there, vibe shifts, folk. Vibe shifts. We are definitely heading in a better direction thanks to Donald J. Trump opening it up. And speaking of vibe shifts, well, JD went on The View last week, and Joy Behar had nice things to say about him, but she's like the crazy one. Well,
Joy Behar is way tougher than the Iranians, and she and I are best friends now.
Sonny Hostin and Navarro are big mad at Joy for this. Watch this, because they know JD has the gift, and this is terrifying them for 2028.
Our very own Joy. We were more difficult to deal with than the Iranian government.
He's being funny.
Can
I tell you something? I wish Joy had negotiated this Iran deal. It would have been better.
Would have been better.
First of all, I'd make him a nice meal, my lasagna. We'd sit down and talk. It's like with JD. He was here the other day. I respect the office. I believe in reaching across the aisle. I do.
Yeah.
This is why MAGA Republicans, they're coming around.
But I want to know, why were you so in love with JD Vance?
I wasn't in love. Look, I'm not in love with him, and I'm not in love with this administration.
And he's not her best friend.
You are watching me on this show.
He just called you his best friend.
That is not mutual.
She went on a 3-minute viral rant yesterday about this administration, and everyone's like, how does she love them? And then you're criticizing, saying throw them out.
I actually heard what you said to him, right? Because he was sitting in the middle. You were here. I was here. Right. And you said to him, I mean, it was a backhanded compliment. You said to him, you're...
This is hilarious. Okay? There's actual panic going on here. And you want to know why? Because when JD went on that show, I'm telling you, out of 100 women watching the show, okay, he got 3 to 7 women out of every 100 to think, oh, I like this guy. Oh, he makes some sense. It's not much, but guess what? In an election, that matters. And think of that now on the grand scale of America. When I'm telling you guys, if JD runs in 2028, he's going to be unbeatable. I think Rubio would be unbeatable too, but for different reasons. But I think Vance would win even larger. He has an appeal. He will lock up the MAGA base. The rhinos hate him just like they hated Trump, but they'll fall in line because they have to keep their careers going. They'll fall in line, and then he's got the appeal to the middle that Rubio's not going to be able to do. Doesn't mean Rubio will lose because people aren't going to vote left. Rubio will still win a landslide. But Vance has a secret sauce there, and it's terrifying them. And so with all this, guys, I mean, you can feel the vibe shift for the midterms. And there's a reason they put JD out there this last week with the Iran deal. They're giving him the shot. Trump could be all over the place touting the Iran deal. He sent JD out to do it. They're giving him the shot. And if this deal works out and JD's the face of it, he's going to be, I mean, that's just seals him up even more for 28. So telling you guys one way or the other, it's pretty clear the momentum's on our side, especially as this economy begins turning. Because now with Iran out of the way, it's all gets to be focused on domestic time. And MAGA is the winning message. We have the winning. We're growing. The demographics are there. The shift is happening. And I love just watching these people panic over it. They just can't find a way to hate the man. And that's a really good sign for us going forward. All right. Guys, hit that like and that subscribe. We got to talk about Tucker Carlson next. But before we do, I did see a super chat come in, so I want to make sure I hit it up. I speak for you at the $10 super chat. Thank you. I speak for you. It says, Ace, I heard Ed Hussein, an English Muslim on trigonometry. Do you know anything about him? He spoke about the danger of the Islamic Brotherhood in England. I don't know who that is. No, I'm sorry. I didn't hear that. I don't watch trigonometry very much. I think Constantine's kind of annoying sometimes. But I'll see if I can find that and look into that. Thanks for the heads up. But I mean, I could tell you the Islamic Brotherhood was funded by the City of London, so it's all tied. So that would make sense. Absolutely. Okay. Anybody else tag me on anything? Dixieland says, let's see how long it takes the ladies to invite JD back on. You better believe they won't do it again. He was too successful. They were hoping to make him look stupid. That's the only reason they let him on. They wanted to destroy him, and he handled it so deftly. It was incredible. Let's see. Thank you, Nikki, for freedom, for your compliment. That was very nice of you. I'm not a doomer. That's very true. Bruce says, I will ask in 1 month from now, what did I think a reckoning would look like? And I'll laugh. What a reckoning would look like? Yeah, okay. I'm interested in seeing it. I do think it's going to be Vance Rubio, Hannah. I agree with you. I think that's what it's going to be. DJ says, if big arrests, huge Epstein drop, alien disclosure, last chance speech from Trump happens, it'll trigger a massive red wave never before seen. Believe it, the puzzle pieces are there. They are there. And, but what we'll see is, if Trump, the thing is, Trump doesn't have trust of a huge portion of the population. So what Trump will do is he'll allow others to drop it. And that's, and maybe someday he'll tie it all up into a speech, but it'll already be out there by that point. So that's just how Trump does it. Violence says, JD approved Marines don't get outnumbered. They enter a target-rich environment. That's true. Monica says, beef's going down at the best brisket of my life for $24, extra thick slices. I love it. I hope beef goes down. It has been one of the sticky prices. I did get New York strips this weekend, though, for $8.99 a pound. I was very happy about that. Very happy about that. Why do Americans refuse to see its City of London, who controls the Fed, Israel, and many U.S. institutions? Because they've hidden it so well for so long. Okay? That's why. They are, excuse me. We've been fed that UK is our best friend, that, we have the great relationship. And all the focus on enemies has always been on Russia, China, Iran, intel agencies. And nobody is ever put together on a massive scale, media-wise, the whole City of London aspect. But again, I contend once you see it, you can't unsee it. Excuse me. But yeah, that's why it hasn't happened yet. It's not that people are ignoring it. It's that you have to dig to see it. That's why. How fearful am I about powerful CEOs in the U.S. after Trump leaves to pushing for City of London? They're purposely running film, music, culture in general. I'm not afraid. I'm just not. I don't think, first of all, I don't think there's as many evil ones as other people do. I think most CEOs, not all of them, there are evil ones, but I think most of them just want to have successful companies and become powerful in that way. And Trump's environment, the business-friendly environment, allows for that more. And, we need leadership to keep them in check. So as long as we have JD Vance, Rubio, other like MAGA type Republicans running, that'll happen. But Trump's also laying a foundation of new rules, regulations, laws that will also, it's setting a trajectory to keep them in line for a long time, as well as the people. The people are more awake now than ever before, and it's only growing. So that'll keep them in check as well. So I'm not worried, honestly. As long as we keep our foot on the gas, we win. That's, so I don't worry about that stuff. I also, honestly, I don't see a point in worrying. I take action, keep fighting, and we win. That's all I focus on. And that's what I'll continue to focus on. I'll let you know when the shift goes against us, when things are hard. But ultimately, there's always a silver lining. It's just about what action will we take. Yes, Dunarino says most CEOs are following political trends, not leading them. 100% true. Do I think America's ready for what's coming? No, but I don't think it matters. I think most of them, it won't affect that much other than they'll just do better. That's what I think. I don't think it's going to be, I think most of the people who need to be awake are awake, and then the rest will just catch up. And so it'll be fine. Jay says, do I expect to let your plans be dark, impenetrable as night, when you move, fall like a thunderbolt, Sun Tzu moment with a big arrest? Maybe. I don't think he's going to do it all at once. I think it's going to be what he's doing now. A lot of smaller arrests, not big names, but a lot getting done. And then the big arrests are built up to, and those smack, but it's not like a ton in the same moment. I think that's more likely to be what we see. So in a way, yes, but Punchcat says, hopefully people wake up. Even Mike Dice just LARPs, it's the Jews. Yeah, the Jews. Anybody who ever says it's the Jews is an idiot. I think we all know that at this point. Okay. Let's Let's get on to the next part. Okay, yeah. All right, got a couple of things left, guys. We're going to Grifter Report. You guys ready? Grifter Report time. Tucker gets to be the star of today's Grifter Report, so we'll be getting into it because Tucker is crashing out. Let's watch Tucker in his latest crash out as he continues to realize things are not heading in the direction he wanted them to head. His narratives aren't working. MAGA didn't follow him when he turned on Trump. Yeah, Tucker's life is not going where he wanted it to go. That honeymoon period he had with MAGA from 2023 through mid 25 is over, and Tucker's not happy about it. So, but instead of seeing the light and coming along, he's doubling down.
I would not support the Republican Party. There's no chance I would support the Republican Party. I'm not going to support the Democratic Party. I don't know what I'm going to do. But at this point, how could I or any American voter support a political party that's not loyal to the United States, that puts the interests of a foreign country above those of
It's the Jews. It's the Jews. That's what he's doing again.
Its own citizens. That's it's not possible to vote for people like that, and I'm not going to. And I think I voted Republican my entire life. I worked at Fox News, CNN, MSNBC. I've been a consistent defender for 35 years of the Republican Party. I mean, very consistent defender. But there's no defending this because it's immoral, and it's exactly the opposite of what a political party in a democracy is charged with doing, which is representing its own voters, its own citizens, its own nation. And they're not doing that. So no, I'm out. And if I'm out, then I think a lot of other people are out.
Well, we all know that's not true. Listen, what did Tucker just tell us? He just gave it away. I've been a staunch defender of the Republican Party for 35 years. Oh, you mean when it was controlled by deep state globalists? When it was City of London's paid opposition, controlled opposition? That's when you defended it? And now that Trump's here, the Republican Party is suddenly immoral and controlled by the Jews? I think you just gave it away, Tucker. Thanks for letting us know. Thanks for letting us in. We get it. But as far as Tucker's arrogance that so many other people are out while the Republican Party just continues to grow. Here's Tucker's current odds on Kalshi for president. We have JD at 41, Marco 30, Tucker is at 5%. That's all those people following him away, right? Very interesting. So Tucker, thanks for letting us know who you really are. And, but like we didn't know. But that's a big tell. But Tucker, again, the further you go, the more its assets deployed, the more you got to be open, the more you got to show people who you really are. That's exactly what Tucker's doing, because now he's so far in, he can't hide anymore. So it's becoming more and more apparent. And now Tucker is trying to get, we're going to talk about Tucker's and JD here for the next couple segments, because Tucker is doing a whole new thing with JD Vance. Now, see, Tucker, with Trump is going to save America. We have to have Trump in. I love Donald Trump. And then Trump got elected. And Trump started to do things that Tucker didn't agree with. Or more accurately, he started destroying the deep state and it started pushing back City of London's tentacles and everything. And then Tucker turned on him. Most obviously after Iran, which nothing that Tucker predicted happened in that. Now, Tucker also has associations with JD Vance, and I get this all the time. Tucker and JD Vance are close. How could you trust JD Vance? He's Tucker Carlson's best friend. It's just not true. But Tucker did go in on JD Vance. That's absolutely true. And Tucker has associations there. That's true. The question is it a warning, or was Tucker just being what Tucker was with Trump as well? Because we've seen Tucker do this before and turn on people. So I contend that the Tucker JD Vance thing isn't what a lot of people are afraid it is. And here's Tucker trying to play both sides while also giving some interesting advice to JD Vance.
is I would march into the Oval Office and say to Trump, like, knock it off. Like, this is ridiculous. This is the opposite of what we ran on. What are you doing? And you either stop doing it, or I'm going to give a press conference every single day from my house and explain to the world what you're doing and why. And I'm going to attack you. I don't want to, but I'm going to.
Well, that's pretty much what you've done
for the country.
That's what you've sort of done.
Well, no, but I'm saying if I were vice president,
yeah,
and
if I were vice president, so he's telling JD, you need to get out there and fight Trump on this and attack Trump. What's JD doing? He's making the rounds right now talking about how wonderful Trump is and what a great leader he is and how he's so much better than anybody says he is and how the policies are working. And JD is gone. He's doubled down. So is this Tucker trying to exert some influence? If it is, it's pretty proof positive that he doesn't have it. Or is Tucker just trying to throw a wrench in for a lot of people who are susceptible? I don't know.
And I wouldn't get anything done. I'm not sure. What I'm saying is that I'm not sure that that's the right thing to do.
Right.
JD Vance, and this is obvious if you watch him, has a different personality where he's always trying to make things better. He doesn't throw up his hands in rage and say, you're too disgusting, I'm not dealing with you. He says, I disagree with this, that, and the other thing, but what can we improve? And that's a different way of operating in the world. It's a way that I respect. I respect him for that. I always have. And I'm the guy who's like, you know what? You make me sick. I'm out. Of course, they're making decisions on the basis of other criteria. What's best for this company? What's best for Israel? What's best for our donors? I mean, I just want to say again, that's unacceptable. That's not just...
The lies here are just so insane. Okay, so first of all, Trump and JD Vance have both come out and criticized Israel in the last week in major ways, and Israel clearly doesn't like the deal with Iran. So, but we don't need to go down that road again. But how about the donors' role? Well, we were told that Trump's controlled by Miriam Adelson for Israel. That was just debunked. The biggest donor to Trump was Elon Musk, who gave $250 million in the 2024 election to the Trump campaign in different ways, shapes, and forms. And what did Trump do? Well, in the big, beautiful bill, he pulled all of Elon's subsidies. Said, you're not getting these grants anymore. Sorry. The thing that makes Tesla affordable is gone. I'm cutting it. Sorry, Elon. Yeah, that wasn't helping his donors, is it? So, but, Tucker, his truth isn't what Tucker's concerned with anymore. He's only concerned with narrative, if he ever was. But here's a little more on Tucker and Vance.
At this point. What's your take on JD Vance? Do you think he is still America first? Because I know you were friends.
I love JD Vance.
You do.
I know. I know JD so well, and Vice President Vance, and I've known him since long before he got into politics, and I know his family well, and my wife knows. I mean, I think of him as a friend. I will always think of him as a friend, and I was an ardent advocate for him being vice president, for him getting elected to the Senate. I've always been a big JD Vance fan because, and I remain, think he's in an impossible situation. The vice president does not make the policy. The vice president works with, but really for the president. He can't be fired because he was elected, but he works for the president. The president chose him. And this president has completely betrayed his own voters. And so that leaves the vice president, who was the hope of many of those voters, including me, in a horrible situation. And every day I feel sorry for JD Vance. Every day I say a prayer for him.
Do you talk to him still?
Always consider him a friend.
See, the way he's framing it is very interesting now. You guys hear what he's saying? That JD is now the victim. By the way, when he says, I've known JD Vance since well before politics, really? Because Tucker, that doesn't even make sense. You knew like this drug-addled family from Appalachia, or did you're quite a bit older than Vance. Where did you meet in the Marines, in Yale, which is where JD did his graduate school. Where did you meet JD? Very interesting. None of that makes sense. JD didn't really enter politics until the 2020s. So this whole idea of like Tucker knowing Vance a long time, it doesn't make sense. Now, I don't know the whole story. Maybe there was a connection there at some point, but it really doesn't add up. Now, do I believe that Tucker saw a young JD Vance, this guy in his late 30s, early 40s, and thought, oh, here's a guy who we can push. Here, he's got the talent. Yeah, we can bend him to our whims. We can create another establishment figure out of JD. Do I believe that? 100% I believe that. And if you guys don't think that's always happening all the time, you don't know how this works. They all meet each other. The media, the politicians, they all know each other. The Epstein files prove that. Everybody knows everybody at these levels. That's just a fact. And so, anytime somebody brings up they knew him thing, I'm like, yeah, they all know each other. That doesn't mean anything. But they're also always looking for who to groom. And here's what I continue to contend with JD, and I believe this is totally backed up by his actions. So until proven otherwise, which is going to take a lot of convincing for me, until proven otherwise, I continue to believe that JD is actually full on MAGA behind Trump. And what happened is see, when you're raised by, CIA establishment people like Tucker is, you kind of only see things one way, and you kind of go with the ebb and flow, and you learn how to be kind of like the snake oil salesman. You learn how to manipulate what you say and what you do to just get things done. And you don't really have like core tenets of belief. But JD Vance wasn't raised like that. JD Vance came out of poverty, deep, deep poverty. And I don't know about you guys, but if you've ever known somebody who grew up in that culture and then made it out, they tend to be somebody you cannot control. They tend to be somebody who says, F it, like I've been down that road. I've seen hell. I've been to hell and back. You can't control me. And unfortunately, in my opinion, that's what I've seen from JD Vance. And I know there's all that stuff out there. Whitney Webb, Peter Thiel controls him. There's just no evidence of that. There's evidence of support. There's evidence they knew each other. Absolutely. And just like what Tucker's saying. But what I'm seeing right now, in my opinion, is Tucker's frustrated. He thought he got in. And in this case, I believe Trump trumped him. Trump, just like Rubio. So for everybody who hates Vance and loves Rubio, they tend to forget that Rubio actually has a worse track record than Vance. Rubio supported amnesty. Rubio was a full-on neocon. Rubio helped pass the law that made it so only Congress could get us out of NATO and not the president. Rubio did all kinds of things that we don't like. And he's got a track record of doing them politically, unlike Vance. So you got to remember, but do I think Rubio is bad? No, I think Rubio has gone full MAGA. I think he's seen the light, because people are people. People, some can be controlled, some can't. Some wake up and others don't. And that's where we're at. And so the Vance thing, it's yet to be decided. But what I see here from Tucker is scrambling. He's scrambling how to figure out what's going on with Vance, because I think Tucker bet on Vance and that bet's not going well. And now he's trying to figure out why. That's what this says to me. You guys can take it the way you want, but again, I keep going back to everybody I've ever known who fought their way out of poverty, got their life together, came from a bad background. And then, Vance was, Marines. For everybody who's like, I got this a lot lately. Vance is skull and bones. No, you guys don't know how that works. Yale undergraduates are skull and bones. Vance was a graduate level. He went to Yale later. So all the things I'm always told about with Vance just never check out. Should we always hold everybody with some level of cynicism? Absolutely. Should we always make them prove it? 100%. Trump had to do that with me. I wasn't on the Trump train until I had some weird experiences, plus then the proof. And now I'm all in. And I trust Trump over everyone else out there, which is also why I trust Vance, because Trump trusts him. And in my experience, the last 10 years, the people who Trump trusts almost always turn out to be the good ones, regardless of what everybody else is saying. But again, we'll see how it plays out. But it's pretty clear to me that Tucker is frustrated here. And that's, to me, a tell.
I wouldn't want to wreck his life more than it has been wrecked by even talking about that. But I will just say that I remain a fan, and I'm glad I'm not in that position.
So what is your advice to him then in terms of what he does here? And
you think about how interesting this is real quick. Okay. Think about how interesting this is. They're having a conversation about like how to fix Vance. Why would you even have that conversation if he was actually your guy? Why don't you like more just, oh, I trust JD. That's kind of the road you'd go down, right? You would frame it. But also here's the other thing. Like he's already come out and said he'll never vote Republican again, which already means he won't vote Vance in the next election. He's going to find a reason not to. So Tucker's playing a strange game here.
Could you get behind him?
What he does is very limited. He can only do so much right now.
I mean, I don't know what he could do. I mean, I know what I would do, but I wouldn't ever get anything done. I mean, that's the thing. People like me in general don't get a lot done because they're so committed to saying what they think is true all the time. And they have all these inflexible principles and they're just like hard to deal with. That's why I've gotten fired so much in my life.
Yeah, that's why.
But you fired a lot. So what I would do, of course, is I would march into the Oval Office and say to Trump, like, knock it off. Like, this is ridiculous. This is the opposite of what we ran on. What are you doing? And you either stop doing it or I'm going to give a press conference every single day from my house. And
so we already heard that part. But do you understand what he just said? That basically he's a principled person and JD doesn't have the courage to be principled. So that's actually a knock. I just want you guys to understand like how to understand this stuff within context. Now, Tucker had more to say, and I want to show you guys a post after this.
Charlie Kirk was murdered.
Yeah.
And he was not murdered for his opinions on transgenderism, obviously. He was, I believe, and most people who knew him well as I did and was friends with him as I was, believe he was most likely murdered for his evolving views on Israel. So
such a crazy thing to say. First of all, Tucker was not good friends with Charlie. Tucker's 22, 23 years older than Charlie. They knew each other. They were friendly with each other. But also that was during the time when Tucker was playing the MAGA game. Charlie and him were not close. That is insane. But this is the thing they're all doing because, Charlie was the true MAGA influencer. Like nobody was as close to getting it as Charlie was. Charlie was the most trusted. He understood the best, how Trump works. And anybody who had questions about what Trump was doing, they'd listen to Charlie and Charlie would set the course and they'd trust it. They kill Charlie, and all of a sudden, all these podcasters, they cozy up to Charlie as if he's their best friend, and they use that to prop themselves up and to push narratives. See, Charlie wasn't the wall holding Trump back. Charlie was the wall holding these guys back. And deep down, they hate him for it, or they hated him. And we have posts from the past of Candace and being frustrated with Charlie, or Ian Carroll calling Charlie a schmuck. Like, we have all this stuff. And we have Tucker saying he hated Trump in 2020. We know how they play this game. But him coming out here and trying to use this as Israel, again, is crazy. But that's the continual psyop. Make it about Israel, destabilize the Middle East. That's what they want to do. That is the City of London playbook. And that's exactly what Tucker continues to do.
I get it. A lot's at stake. The world is at stake. But from my perspective, I have a duty to say what I think is true. I'm often wrong, and I always say that.
You're always wrong. But this is what's interesting. This guy right here, Andrew Follett, worked for Tucker and says flat out lying about this. And then he says Kirk was obviously murdered for his opinion on transgenderism. I only think that was part of it. I do think leftists murdered Charlie, but I also think it was leftists working with deep staters because Charlie needed to be taken out. Again, he was the one holding back the psyops. Get rid of Charlie, and you have a better chance of getting your propaganda back out there. Charlie was dangerous to them. And so would they have used this to radicalize somebody? 100%. But the interesting part is that he worked for Tucker and knows he's lying about it. I thought that was very interesting because we just keep catching these guys in their lies, don't we? So That's the latest from Tucker as he's crashing out, trying to find his have my cake and eat it too, be anti-MAGA, but like still keep a connection just enough in case I try to weasel my way back in. That's what we're seeing from Tucker. But again, the lies just keep coming. Here's Alex Jones. Well, Alex does not know what to do. Neither does Tucker. Neither does Megyn now that Trump has ended this war, because nothing they said would happen happened. We didn't get stuck. We didn't do boots on the ground. We didn't spend trillions of dollars on this one. We didn't lose tons of people. Iran obviously didn't win. They didn't have the super duper secret missiles to attack us. Everything they said would happen didn't happen. Oh, and yeah, we're also now 100% proven that Trump and Vance and the whole administration is not beholden to Israel. At this point, if you still think that, you're just retarded. There's no argument for that anymore. And so Tucker, Alex, Megyn, they're freaking out. What do we do? How do we get back in the good graces? Now, Alex has to make it all about him. In this video, Trump slams the warmongers criticizing the MOU. And Alex posts, "Did someone transplant my brain into Trump's skull the last week? Because it obviously was always me. I was the one always telling Trump, you can't do this. Israel controls you. Don't do it. Oh my God. What do I? He didn't do anything I said it would happen. Well, then it means he learned from me. Of course, I'm the guy. Because Trump, he learned something, and I'm just smarter." These people are pathetic. They are absolutely pathetic. And again, there's no admitting they were wrong. Where's the post that says, you know what, I got Trump wrong? That's what you say if you're a real person, if you're an honest person. But we keep getting the doubling down, just like Tucker trying to double down on this. Oh, well, they're still controlled by Israel, but I like what he did with Iran, but that they lost their big guy. They lost their connection. We covered last week when Tucker was trying to toe the line. Figure his way out of it. Megyn Kelly coming out and saying that, well, Trump finally woke up. Like, it's got to be about them all the time. None of them can admit Trump was right. It's the craziest thing. And just a reminder of retards out there in the faggot land. Here's Robert Barnes. His massive prediction about Iran. FYI, the White House expects 10,000 American soldier casualties, and they do indeed plan to put boots on the ground in Iran. Okay. This is what they were saying. These people, man, they're so pathetic. They're so pathetic. And just remember, like, this stuff's been always going on. It'll continue to go on. But the thing is now they're losing their traction. And as Eagle Ed Martin put it out there, which I just think is a great way to summarize this today, it says we should mark the 54th anniversary of the Watergate break-in by remembering this. It's the OG hoax with pre-FISA CIA running wiretaps on domestic politicians and then blaming Nixon campaign and Washington Post leading, not reporting. Only thing worse than the lying CIA is a two-faced liar John Dean and fiction writer Woodward. May they suffer in eternity. He's absolutely right. It's psyops, and we've been dealing with it forever. And all they do is they change how they do it. So it used to be Washington Post, ABC, NBC, there was not that many options. And so that's how they ran their psyops to us. Now, nobody pays attention to the mainstream media, even though they keep trying. So they've moved on. And they found new vessels to parrot their propaganda, to lie to us about everything. And, for a while, it might have worked because they're evolving with the times. They're going to keep bringing in new vessels and new exciting independent types. Oh, people want something more authoritative? We'll give them that version. They want something more independent? We'll give them that version. They're going to keep messing with us. But guys, at this point, the PSYOP is too exposed. We've learned the whole podcast to stand Fagosphere, America First, along with many of these people who claim to be MAGA that were riding on Trump's coattails only to turn on him, like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie. It's all out there now. The fraud's up, like it's exposed. We see you guys. And now we know we can't trust anything. But as long as people continue to listen to them by the millions, especially in Tucker's case, Alex, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, we also got to counter program it. We got to call it out. Because in the past, see, people tell me all the time, why do you even bring this stuff up? Why does it matter? Don't give them attention. You're feeding them. Am I? Because in the past, we didn't have anybody counter-programming. We didn't have anybody telling the truth. We didn't have anybody breaking down the lies. And so we had generations believe stuff like Watergate was the greatest fraud ever. We had a legitimate anti-deep state president, Nixon, get pushed out. They killed Kennedy. They pushed out Nixon. We've been fed so many lies for so long that people still believe it's true, even when they wake up to a lot of other stuff. They still believe this is true because this was the only narrative for 30, 40 years because there was no way to bring it up. So for now, as long as people are still listening to them, as long as they have influence, I'm going to keep calling them out. I'm going to keep breaking it down because the answer is not silence. The answer is not ignore them. The answer is show the world how stupid and ridiculous they are. And then we can all laugh, which they hate more than anything else is being mocked because they really think they're special. And we're going to keep showing them they're not. All right, guys, hit that like and subscribe. Thank you guys for your attention to this matter. I appreciate you guys. Let me see here. I did have a couple more super chats come in, so let me go back to those. Oh my goodness. K2 for you today with a $5 super chat says Tucker's a transactional fiend. As long as you toe the line, agree, they're all in, divert from their view and they're peace out. Absolutely. Another $100 from Kevin. My God, Kevin, you're just, man, thank you. He says they aren't good with money either. I love it, man. Dude, thank you so much for your support today. I am very humbled by you, Kevin. Thank you, man. Ministry of Wrongthink with the $20 super chat says, I love how the Iran chaos has inadvertently exposed the grifters who paint themselves as clairvoyant political soothsayers, as helpless reactionaries just trying to keep up. Yeah. You mean they weren't right? You mean they were wrong? Come take them with a goat trophy. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that goat trophy. Is that I'm not Islamic. But thank you anyways. Let's see. Soccer trophy. Thank you very much, KT, for you. Appreciate that. Let's see. Anybody tag me on anything? Somebody said, yeah, see, a lot of people still believe the Whitney Webb stuff. Jeans Marie says, JD's controlled by Peter Thiel. The Peter Thiel that just ran off to Argentina? That Peter Thiel? That doesn't make any sense. But okay, believe what you want. You can believe Whitney Webb because so many of her predictions have come true. That makes a lot of sense. I understand people still have questions about JD, but I'm sorry. When people think they know, that's just hilarious to me. That's just hilarious to me. DJ Fusion says, newborn MAGA here. Butler, Pennsylvania woke me up. How credible is the Michelle Obama's a man theory? Oh, God. Is there enough coincidences for this to be true or saying as a black man? Well, oh, God. Where do I go with this? Okay, well, let's have some fun, shall we? The Michelle Obama is a man thing goes all the way back to good old, where's her face? Yep, here she is. Joan Rivers.
Miss Rivers, how are you?
So this was the first time, okay, that we heard this. And Joan Rivers, who, if you remember, Joan Rivers, before she died, a comedian who did red carpets, liked to make fun of celebrities and politicians. That was her spiel. Well, at this point, she was about to die. She was older, and she didn't give two Fs what anybody thought. And so this gets caught, and this is the first time people started being like, what?
How are you? You made a ton of news officiating the wedding in New York yesterday. Is this like a new cottage career move for you?
I'm so excited.
Okay.
And I should do very well because I don't charge.
And do you think that the country will see the United States will see the first gay president or the first woman president?
We already have it with Obama, so let's just calm down.
Got it.
You know Michelle is a trans.
I'm sorry, she's a what?
A transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh.
We all know.
It's okay. She does this.
And then Joan died, I think, a couple weeks later. And, there's stuff like this, which is the dancing on the Ellen show with the loose pants. That looks kind of weird. a little bulgy there. Let's see if I can enlarge this. Oh, yeah, here we go. And then there's the famous Obama calling her Michael. Let's see. I think it's right here. Yeah.
Distinguished guests and men and women of the finest military in the world. Most of all, Admiral Mullen, Deborah.
I think this is it.
Michael and I also want to acknowledge
Michael and I. Yeah, so, I'm not going to just don't want to get YouTube censored, but I'll tell you that you decide for yourself how credible it is. Okay. Because then there's the other stuff, like we don't have any pictures of her pregnant and stuff like that. So yeah, you make your own decision. There's speculation. That's why she'll never run for office. So, do with it what you will, guys. I'll just show you guys the show you the proof, and you or the evidence, and you guys decide how true it is. Anyways, all right. What else here? Peter says, my dumb questions are only dumb questions, never a statement in disguise. Well, that's good to know. Did I miss one of your questions? I think it's a sin to cut someone loose you've known your whole life that never tries to help themselves, brings you down with them. No, it's not. Boundaries are important. And ultimately it's theirs. What percentage do I think it's true, the Michelle Obama thing? 60-40. I'd say 60%. I think it's likely, just knowing what we know about Obama's tendencies and then what we've seen. Because so much of this is a lie. I mean, Michelle is not a small woman, so but then there's also, I know serious people who actually think it's ridiculous. So, but I'd say it's 60-40 true. Lamb's Grace says 99.9%. So there you go. Jay Tyra says 65%. I love it. 100% crazy. I love it. You guys are hilarious, man. You guys are hilarious. Okay, let's see. 80 to 90 says Mike. 100% is pi squared. It's the dongle on the Ellen show didn't appear from nothing. Oh, man. I don't know, man. I'm not going there. I'm not going on that one, D3. That's not one I'm going to answer. So good. Austin Powers. Yeah. It's a man. There's more videos of Obama referring to my Michael. Yeah, I mean, that one is, to me, that one's pretty crazy, right? So, yeah. So, anyways. Well, guys, listen. We're pushing 3 hours here. So, I'm actually going to roll over a segment I wanted to do on fathers and stuff till another time, or I might turn it into a members live. But, listen, I appreciate you guys. I want to say thank you to everybody who gave a super chat today. Just very, very generous group today. Thank you so much for Bruce for the memberships. I'm so glad so many other people get to watch the members lives now. And yeah, just appreciate you guys. So please, everybody, hit that like, subscribe. Free way to support the channel. And if you really love this and love the community, think about becoming a member. Jump in click the link in the description and get your free month. SA Pilot says, congrats on being right. Followed you 3 months ago. You were the only one not panicking, being right on all things Trump, and subscribed to Promethean updates. Thanks, SA Pilot. Listen, I like to joke that, I'm right 96.7% of the time. And it's a joke because, I don't actually track it. But, I'm taking from Rush Limbaugh's material. But I do get right a lot right. And this is the reason. It's not because I'm, special. It's not because I think and see in the future. I'm not a time traveler. It's because I trust Trump. Okay. And I believe what Trump believes. And that's, and this, I'm going to share this real quick and then we'll go on. This, Trump learned from Norman Vincent Peale about positivity. And I agree with this. And I do believe that, positive people end up being right more often than not. And this is a good example. But here's Glenn Beck talking about Trump's mentality on things.
He grew up listening and going to the church of Norman Vincent Peale. So he is the power of positive thinking. It is done. The reason why it's not ego when he says it's the greatest, he is speaking something into existence. Okay? When he's like, nobody thought we could do this, we're doing it, it's not done. When he walks out and he says, we just got Greenland, we got Greenland, and it's all done, and we just had, no, it's not. It's not.
He's manifesting.
He's speaking it.
Right.
He's manifesting it.
Right.
He grew up listening.
So, what he says right here, speaking something into existence, he doesn't mean this in like an occult way. He just means it in like a faith way, like believing something and seeing it come true. And I got to tell you, in my own life, I've found that by being positive, more often than not, things work out well. Doesn't mean I haven't been through stuff. God, I'm the guy who's lost half my family, to major accidents and death and disease and horrible stuff. My parents, my brother, I've suffered plenty of tragedy, but thinking positively, believing in the future, believing like you can control your own destiny to an extent, by getting better all the time and pointing forward and persevering. Like I believe that like Trump believes it. And in that sense, yeah, you speak it into existence. And so I agree with that. And I trust Trump because of that, because I believe that, that ethos is a good one. It's a healthy one. And I've seen Trump pull it off over and over again. And so because of that, I trust Trump. And by trusting Trump, he makes me look like a genius because he proves me right almost all the time. So that's how, I do it. That's my secret. And I do thank you guys. Nick says, excellent show. Keep rolling. The 96.7% is good and real. I mean, like I said, I thank you guys. I do try to be accurate. I do my research, but I also trust, I just happen to trust the people in charge right now, and they make me look like a genius. So that helps. That really helps. El Duderino says, Scott Adams said that about Trump 100%. So Kevin, are you serious, man? Bro, dude, I'm so I'm floored by you. Kevin with another $100 donation says, we are images of God. Kevin, man, thank you. Thank you so much. I promise you guys that Kevin doesn't own me, but Kevin, man, thank you, brother. Anyways, all right, guys. Well, I love you guys. I appreciate you. I'm gonna pray, and then we'll get out of here for the day. So, Heavenly Father, thank you for today. God bless everybody here, and Lord, just thank you for them all. Bless them all. And I especially feel, Lord, just blessed by the members and the people, Lord, just who give to the show, who support the show. So thank you to them, Lord, and I bless them in Jesus' name. And Father, I pray for a blessing over President Trump, that you continue to protect him, give him wisdom, Lord, and courage in all the situations he faces and his team faces, God, so we can continue to win and just move forward. I pray for our country, for more justice, peace, and prosperity to come to our country than ever before. I thank you, God, that we're on the right trajectory and that you've just blessed us so much. And God, I just pray you stir each and every one of us to what we can do, little or big, moving forward, to just all play our part and make sure that moving forward, we never go back to the wrong trajectory again. And we just keep moving forward to leave a better country to our kids, grandkids, and great-grandkids. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, love you guys. Appreciate you. Bless you. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. See you then.
Headlines screaming like a siren at night. Red and blue shouting, nobody's right. Smoke in the streets, truth under attack. Everybody's loud, nobody's got facts. Feeds keep scrolling.